family. Welcome to another edition. Welcome to another edition, twice in one day, of Moorish World TV. I am your esteemed host. Brother Tahaka Bey. Yeah, I'm a little bit pumped up. Matter of fact, I'm a whole lot pumped up. Because listen, family, this is the day that I was looking for. The day that I was looking for is when we can have a panel of qualified Moorish Americans, to break down some of the things that we might be out of the loop with, or maybe not privy to. See, listen, let me tell you something. I'm gonna give you the fact of the matter. Y'all ready? All right, y'all gotta pay attention. Listen real quick. Let me see real quick. Hold up. Let me make sure. I just sent it. I sent the brother the link. I don't know why he didn't get it, because I did send him the link. But anyway, check this out. I sent it twice. But anyway, I'm about to give y'all something. I don't want y'all to tell nobody this, right? Because some people gonna get mad. So don't tell nobody this. Between you and me. Every Moorish American know everything. Not for real. If look, let me say not every. Most Moorish Americans ain't nothing they don't know. I'm not a part of that bunch. No, I'm just playing with you. I'm just saying, I don't know everything. But that's why we're going to bring this panel on. We're going to bring this panel on to help us with the things that we're not familiar with, like Marra Kush. Listen, I know common sense. Brothers like Ali Bey know law. I know common sense. Brothers like Lord Abba know history. I know common sense. Brothers like Sharif know politics. Brother Ware know politics. So we put it all together and we're going to find out what it is. We're going to find out what it is. Because listen, for way too long, someone be trying to handle the common sense, the history, the what would you call it? The political, the law, and all of that. Today we got a panel that is privy to all of these things, but all of them got expertise in certain areas. Me, you know me, I'm just raw. I might butcher up a word. Yeah, man, I might take a word and flip that joint, you know what I mean? Slice it up a little bit. You know what I mean? I might take you some history. Now, one thing you ain't gonna catch me wrong on, one thing, I haven't been caught wrong yet. If you caught me wrong, let me know. But I ain't been caught wrong yet on the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I don't think I've been caught slipping. If I've been caught slipping, let me know so I can fix myself. You know what I mean? But I ain't been caught slipping yet. I don't think so. I don't think. And I'm talking about just conveying the message per se. But now on law, I might slip. On history, I might slip. On politics, economics, I might slip. But this is why we got the panel. And the panel today ain't gonna be no slipping. Let me tell you what, these are sharpshooters. These are sharpshooters. And Marra Kush time is up. All of this pseudo fugazi teaching, it's over with. When you see brothers like me and Ali Bey was one of the ones on the channel when we was trying to get the channel moving, him and brother Grimion L, to get the channel up and movement. They dedicated their time, they sacrificed a lot of their time to help it out, and the channel actually been a smash. Then we had brother Sharif, Lord Abba. Come on now, check this out. Through time, we had our disagreements, right? And over time, we have overcome the disagreement. But this is the amazing thing. The amazing thing about it is that I don't think over time have we ever questioned one another's sincerity as it relates to the prophet? We may misunderstood one another, but I don't think we ever questioned each other in sincerity. We may have questioned each other's approach, but we never questioned each other's sincerity. But at this point where we at now, when we can come together like this, that means we fed up. That means we fed up with the lies. That means we're going to put all our differences aside as Moorish Americans, and we're going to deal with the truth. Same way like this demonstration I did earlier today, they can come on and deal with the truth too. They can come and deal with the truth. You feel me? They can come deal with the truth, or they can step on the sideline. It is what it is. It is what it is. And so today, listen. I don't want anybody talking about we starting confusion. If we tell a lie, that's confusion. But if we tell the truth, that's not confusion. If we tell the truth, that's not radical. Long as we not slandering, if we showing emphatical proof, that's not starting confusion. We need to get out of that. Trying to silence us from telling the truth, we got to get up out of that.
Somebody trying to silence us already.
Yeah, they up on the door saying y'all starting confusion.
That's right, man.
You know what I mean? But I'm not going to silence this, and that was the purpose of Moorish World TV, to give the Moors a voice. Nobody's going to tell our story. The hypocrites, the liars, the fake made-up history makers are not going to tell our story. It's not going to happen. And so today, let me open the floor up to the brothers. You know, as we wait for the others to come in, I'll open the floor up and allow my brother, Lord Abba, to introduce himself to the people. Lord Abba, the floor is yours, brother.
Islam, Islam, Islam. Peace, peace. Greetings to you all. Sheikh Ware, a.k.a. Lord Abba, a.k.a. Mr. Just the Fact. We in the building. You know, like this is what it's about when we love Prophet Noble Drew Ali and his teachings, and we come to an understanding that sometimes, you know, brothers gotta, you know, they fight. Me and my brother, we fought. We still. I just visited New York. Me and my brother up in my mom's crib arguing. An hour later, we in the room like, yo, bro, man, you gotta be easy, bro. And he telling me the same thing. We brothers, so it is what it is. And for Marra Kush, I said it a long time ago. Those snakes, and this ain't slander. I call them snakes because I dealt with them. I seen the inner workings of what they do. You gotta apply pressure on them. You gotta step on their necks until their heads pop off. That's the analogy. It's kind of graphic, but it is. It is what it is. It's time to go. Oh, my bad. I give all praise to Allah and the highest honors to his prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I extend those honors to the harbinger and forerunner Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I extend honors to all true and divine prophets. I extend honors to all leaders and freedom fighters who were either sent to us or raised up from amongst us here in the West. And I give honors to you all, for when man honors man, he honors his father, God Allah. Peace. Time to get busy. Peace. Yeah. Time to get busy.
Islam. Brother Ali Bey, are you there, brother?
Islam. Can you hear me?
Indeed, brother. Introduce yourself to the people, brother. You've been gone for a minute, brother. You back now.
Peace, Islam. This is Ali Bey, man, one of the originals on the panel. I'm back. Here to give the Murakush jokers some attention because they've been looking for it for a long time. So I think it's long overdue. And here we are to give them exactly what they've been looking for. Peace.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. And family, I want to say I'm looking so forward to it. Have anybody talked to the brother Sharif Anael Bey? I know he's always busy, but is he around?
I spoke to him earlier this morning. He said he was going to be on, so I don't know where he's at right this second, but he said he's going to be on. So we'll hopefully make it.
because he'll make it, hopefully, because he always doing something. And let me say something. I got to share something with my brother, Lord Abba. So me and Lord Abba had our ups and downs, right? But Lord Abba, I'm telling you, right? This is factual, right? She ain't gonna like this, right? But let me share this, family. This my mobitis, right? I'm gonna share a picture of her. She ain't gonna like it. She be all right though. This is my mobitis right here, right? Lord Abba, that woman right there, right? She would say, Prophet Tahaka, won't you and Lord Abba just stop? Prophet Tahaka, I like Lord Abba. Prophet Tahaka, come on, Prophet Tahaka. Lord Abba, listen to his teachings, Brother Tahaka. Okay, Brother Tahaka. Brother, I'm serious. In the heat of you and I, she will always say, Brother Tahaka, I'm not Brother Tahaka. So salute to the Mobitis, man. Salute to the Mobitis for keeping the peace, or at least trying to keep the peace. And I said, and I always, you know how I do. I ain't worried about Lord Abba. That's all right. He started it. And she Brother Tahaka. So salute to the sister woman, honor to the sister woman. And I'm telling you, brother, in the heat of us going with our ups and downs, she's always stood firm. Lord Abba is Lord Abba. Let Lord Abba do what Lord Abba do. Pay attention to what Lord Abba teach, and leave it at that. Islam to the sister woman. But with that being said, how you want to start this off, Brother Ali Bey or Lord Abba? What is your position on Marra Kush? Let's start with Lord Abba. Lord Abba has a history with him. Can you give us a brief history with your relationship with Marra Kush?
Indeed, Islam, people. My history with Marra Kush starts with how it starts with everybody, a series of debates. And I filed a lawsuit. You know, we was all into that sovereign citizen stuff at one point. It was not all of us, but most of us. So in some way, shape, or form, tied our Moorish into that sovereign citizen ideology. So I had posted my lawsuit in the group, in the fact that I was suing. So the brother Shyam, Brandon, he hit me up, and he was like, you know, you want to merge lawsuits or something like that. He kind of made it a little joke. And I was like, of course, what you talk about? And, you know, we laugh out loud. And the next thing you know, I was over there. And, you know, I don't do the subordinate thing. So I was one of the heads over there. Like, it ain't going to be like Shyam, Aemer, and then Lord Abba, the underling. Nah, we come in and sit in boss seats. And so I was up over there, and things was flowing. You know, let me say, man, we were able to get a lot of things done. When they had the Aboriginal Law Institute Ning site, and when I first came over there, it was about 18 people you see regularly in the chat. But once I came over there, that 18 went to 80 and 100 people regularly, where we're having these chats going on every day, sharing this information. And I just start finding out more and more stuff. And I start making these little notes in the group, putting people on. We would be on the phone 3 in the morning, Skype sessions, 3, 4 in the morning. Then Aemer got locked up. And we was trying to do all of the sovereign citizen stuff, and none of that stuff was working. So I'm like, wait, let me get into the teachers of Noble Drew Ali. It was drawing me anyway. And I was like, yo, this is what we need to be doing. We need to be following the religious aspect of this thing. We trying to do all this secular work with all these documents, and there's no fruit. So I got into the teachers of the prophet, and I read that part in chapter 4 where it says, now he who stands upon the corner of the path and points the way and does not follow, a block of wood could do the same. And I was like, wait a minute, that hit me. Like, I'm feeling like a block of wood. I ain't do none of this stuff. Matter of fact, they ain't do none of this stuff, or else this dude wouldn't be locked up under his government name. So then that's when I started to see that it was fraudulent. People started telling me, they would hit me in the inbox like, yo, Abba, man, I know you a sincere brother, and I know you doing this out of love, but them brothers are snakes. They got me out of my money, yada, yada, yada. And it kept piling on, until eventually it broke. And once I realized, like, yo, this dude Cheyenne was just a fraud, I left it alone. I was putting in a lot of work, and these dudes made like 40, 50,000 since I came. I needed 1,500. I was in distress. I'm gonna tell a story. I don't want to be too long-winded, but I'm gonna tell a story.
Listen, the floor is yours because we want to put this to bed.
Definitely.
So, brother, just take long as you like. If they got to go work tomorrow, they can pick it up and watch it on their lunch break. But, brother, take it long as you like. You know what? I got something against those who have manipulated the teachings of the prophet over.
That's right.
Flipped it and then made it something that it's not. You know what I mean?
That's right.
I found out that they was Marra Kush Science Temple, and
that's right.
I was like,
Marra Kush Imperial Caliphates of America. Yeah. The Marra Kush. This, when I first met them, they was called the Abba. What are they called? The Aboriginal Consortium, some crazy mess. They done changed their name 1,000 times. So, all right, now I get to New York, and this dude talking like he ain't got that money. And the old big Nah Hammers for Rockaway Queens just almost came out of me. Like Biggie said, it came to me like a song I wrote. Tie this dude and the chick up. I swear that ran through my mind. But I was like, yo, be easy. You in another space. You in another sphere right now. And we start falling out more and more. So it got to the point where we start going at each other online. His whole demonstration was made up slander. I'm telling people about, yo, y'all was robbing dudes hand over fist. And, you know, my brother Snow Bay, me and brother Snow Bay, we fell out, but we also linked through Marra Kush as well. And we was on a conference call one time, and Snow Bay was just barking on them dudes. Like all the work Abba put in, well, they was calling me Neb then. All the work Neb put in, yo, Shyam, you gonna come at Neb like that and yada, yada, yada. Because he was trying to find a way to, you know how Trump do everybody that flip on him, right? And then all of a sudden they was nobodies or coffee boys or they were insignificant. He tried to pull that on me, and that wasn't happening. And they started doing a bunch of shows slandering Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I mean, I still got 2 of them saved on my computer somewhere. On my computers in the room. Like, I mean, full-fledged slander, like Ali Muhammad style slander, you know, peas in the pod, birds of a feather, and they are some birds. But that's basically how the Marra Kush thing really transpired. These dudes are liars. These dudes are thieves. We gonna expose them. I was hoping my brother Ware could get on tonight because I just wanted to kind of jump in between the cracks and the crevices and you know, just shoot some jabs here, then shoot some jabs there, and let the Moors go in because they've been in the group really battling with them. But Ware can't get in for whatever reason. I was having a hard time at first, but you know, we gonna let it flow. Ali Bey is the sniper out the group. We gonna let Ali Bey just snipe these dudes, and they gonna get hit either way. So let's go.
Indeed. And let me say, I'm gonna keep trying to get my brother Ware up in here. I want to, if he's watching it, I'm gonna say, Ware, make sure whatever device that you're trying to tap into, make sure that device is logged into the email that you're using, because sometimes we can be logged, if we got 3 or 4 different emails on our phone or our tablet, we could be logged into a Yahoo account, but then we hit a Gmail account and they don't link up. You got to be logged into your Gmail account. So make sure whatever device you're on, you logged into your Gmail account, because YouTube is Gmail. Also, got my brother Ali Bey. Are you there, brother?
Islam, brother. I'm here. Definitely here.
So, brother, what is your relationship to the conversation as it relates to Marra Kush and this law that they teach, brother?
Well, my relationship to them is very, very minimal. A very minimal relationship with them. I was also a member of their website group that they have.
Hold on, Ali Bey. I just want to add this in. Me and Ali Bey met through Marra Kush. After I left Marra Kush, Ali Bey just, yo, we've been rolling together ever since.
Right.
And that was like 2010, I think.
Yeah, somewhere around there. You know, I listened to the blog talks and, you know, all of that stuff that they had going on, like everybody else. The way I got familiar with them was through the videos, the YouTube video where it says the Moors in court have the judge shook and all of this kind of stuff, right? And so that's where I first took notice of those guys and the stuff that they were teaching or what have you. And so, you know, long story short, just been paying attention to things off and on that they say and do from that point. And, you know, pretty much that's it. At one point, I was actually trying to assist them with getting a law firm to help them file some documents that they didn't know how to file. And so I was, you know, I turned them on to a law firm, and actually the law firm is some of my people's was actually working there at the time. You know, brothers like family to me, you know what I mean? He has his own firm now, and he's doing extremely well. But at the time, he was working for this firm out of Newark, New Jersey, and it was an all Asiatic firm. Everybody that worked there is Asiatic. This particular firm had a great track record of success and everything. And so what they wanted to do was file some documents, and they were having problems filing their documents for whatever reason. Turns out that they really didn't know what they were doing. And that's what came up out of it with me trying to help them to get their documents filed. It was all kinds of issues with the documents and so forth. And I have conversations and stuff like that. I can let everybody see the conversations between myself and, you know, one of those guys, and you know, where he's admitting that they really didn't know what they was doing and all that kind of stuff. So that's basically my relationship with them. Is you know, I saw them on the videos. I thought that at the time anyway, I thought that what they were trying to do was impressive. You know what I'm saying? And I tried to assist them with helping to get some civil claims filed, because they were trying to sue a whole bunch of people across a whole bunch of jurisdictions and so forth. This was back in like 2011, and turned them on to the law firm, and you know, it didn't work out, and I'll explain why a little bit later on.
Islam. So, Brother Ali Bey, where does that bring us today in 2019? Today in 2019, as you probably have seen, I've done quite a few shows as it relates to Marra Kush, and my show is not as in depth as y'all research may be. My shows is really surface based, just to scratch the surface as to as it relates to them just misleading the people with the information, finagling these book sales, selling these books, trying to make money off of books where it's nothing but bogus case law and all of this. Where do you see Marra Kush within the Moorish paradigm today as it relates to law?
I see them the same way that the brother Lord Abba sees them. I see them as confidence men. I see them as confidence men, and what they're doing is trying to fool people into believing that their approach is the way that things need to be done. And there's a number of things that they're pushing. They're pushing status correction. They're pushing right to travel. They're pushing this stuff about treaty rights, whatever, you know, Moorish treaty rights, how Moorish Americans can be protected, be considered some kind of protected class in the United States by way of invoking some Moorish treaty, particularly, I guess, the treaty between Morocco and the United States. So this is the kind of stuff that they're doing. Basically, what we're trying to show people is that they don't know what they're talking about, or that either they don't know or they do know, and they're just tricking people. Is one or the other.
Well, let me. Okay, I know these brothers personally, and they are tricking people. They know full well what they're doing, and they're going to continue to get this work. So let's give them this work.
Let's give it to them. All right. So one of the things, this is very interesting, right? Because I don't have everything pulled up. I'm trying to. I thought the other brothers were going to come on, give me a little bit more time to pull up some more stuff. But one of the things that was very interesting that we got into it with them over, and this goes towards the idea of whether or not they're law masters or losers, because this is the concept of the show, right? One of the things we got into it with them over a while back, this was on Red Pill's thread. It's this whole long thing that went on for like 2 days or so, was them talking about they were going into the Supreme Court, which no other Moors had ever done before, right? And they were going to set precedents. And so they did. They petitioned the Supreme Court. They definitely petitioned the Supreme Court, but the problem is they didn't win. So this is going to go towards, and I'm going to screenshot this so that people can see it. Hopefully this works. Let me know. Hold on a second. Can you guys see it? Let me know if you can see.
No, I can't see it.
Can't see it? Hold on.
No, I can't see it either.
If you ever, okay, they your screen share right there working. There it is. It's working now. There we go.
All right. So this is we're gonna start here, and then I guess we can go backwards, because this is the Supreme Court. This is the highest court in the land. And so this is one of the things they were bragging about. Oh, we're going into the Supreme Court, and we're the first Moors to ever do this, and nobody's ever done it, and yada yada, all of this stuff that they were bragging about. So our question, again, tonight's question is: are they law masters or are they losers? So if you could, brother, read this, brother, talk, and tell me what you see. Go all the way down to the bottom line.
Okay, well, let's go to June 3rd, 2014. Distributed for conference of September 29, 2014. June 14, 2014. Supplemental brief petitioner Aemer El Mujadid, I guess that I say his name, filed, distributed. October 6, 2014. Petition denied.
Okay. So this was one of the things they were bragging about. And it's very interesting that if you think about it, after they were bragging about this, they never came back to explain what happened. And that's something that, a lot of times these guys don't do. They don't come back and show you where everything happened. Just like with the court videos, the Moors in the court, there's no follow-up videos. There are no follow-up videos to show what happened with those guys in that court. They challenging jurisdiction. What happened to the challenge of jurisdiction? Where did that go? Where's the follow-up video? Where are the follow-up documents?
That's right.
Okay, what was the outcome of that whole thing? Why were you there in the first place?
That's right.
Yeah, bro, can anybody break that down?
Well, if my memory is correct, they got caught with small amounts of cocaine and weed. And when I say small amounts, I don't mean amounts that were being used to distribute. I mean amounts that was used to be used. And they got caught, they got pulled over in New Jersey, they got arrested. And this is how these court videos come about. If my memory serves me correctly, and we got these brothers in there that are battling with the judges, and it looks so good until you get into analyzing the video, and the judge is saying, well, until the proper application comes across my desk, you can't challenge jurisdiction. There's no such thing. Let me say there is a such thing as challenging jurisdiction. There's no such thing as you're being a citizen of a nation and then challenging that nation's jurisdiction over you. Now, there's a such thing as if a federal officer or maybe arrest somebody, or let's just say a local cop arrests somebody on federal grounds. Well, you can challenge the jurisdiction of that local officer and say you don't have the jurisdiction, et cetera, et cetera. These are jurisdictional arguments. The argument about we as Moors cannot be arrested and criminally tried because we somehow have judicial immunity based on the treaty is wholly frivolous. And later, a little bit later on, we're going to get into the main meat and potatoes of this whole thing, which is the case where they set more precedents. Lawmen are losers. We're going to prove that these people are losers.
So what I got here on my screen, right, if y'all can see it, this is what we're talking about when they was in this case.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you have a constitutional oath to uphold the Constitution, man.
You misunderstand procedure. I will attempt to explain it to you. The documents that you want are not documents that are in the court's file at this point in time. I don't know if they would ever be in the court's file at this point in time. Your position is, if you, absolutely, it's your problem. Your position is that you want them.
He said it's not his problem.
And you have requested them.
I don't think many people that viewed this really paid attention to the commentary that the judge was really talking about. Not to take the judge's side, because I don't have a horse in the race, but when you listen to the judge, she is not tolerating any of this misappropriation of fugazi legalities, if that's what you want to call it. So
perfect analogy.
So, that's what it is. So I'll hand it back over to y'all. I just wanted to share that with the people so they know what we're talking about.
Right. Hold on one second. I'm trying to pull up something.
All right, while you're doing that, when you hear what the judge is saying, basically, it's like this. Anybody familiar with the psychological term cognitive dissonance understands that cognitive dissonance derives from the fact that a person has two conflicting beliefs. You can't hold two conflicting beliefs to be the truth. On the one hand, Marra Kush believes that the courts of the United States of America has absolutely no jurisdiction over them. But on the other hand, they believe that they have to file documents with the court in order to prove that they are who they say that they are. This is a classic case of cognitive dissonance. And these brothers, being the con men that they are, they know how to employ these particular psychological aspects onto unsuspecting minds, people that are basically maybe poor, in legal trouble, looking for a way out. And we're going to get into all of that. One particular case, a brother named Damian Wilson, I believe was his last name, Mustafa L. Bey. We're going to get into that a little bit later as well. So, I'm just filling in while Ali Bey pulls up certain stuff. My brother Ware having a hard time getting on. So I'm going to just try to do my best to not roll with the punches, but throw some body shots. I'm going to let Ali Bey work the head.
And family, I think my brother Sharif is experiencing a storm in Syracuse right now.
Yeah, he's in a storm.
Yeah. I think some of the electricity is out in Syracuse. So my thoughts is with the families in Syracuse.
Definitely.
With brother Sharif. So I'm pretty sure if he could be here, he will be here. But it might be an electrical problem, and I'm pretty sure that he'll call me the moment that he is able to. And then I got my brother Nagas there. I think he's in Syracuse. So he said, yes, that's what's going on there. With that being said, I yield the floor back to my brother Ali Bey.
Peace. All right. So look, this is one of the things that we have recently got into it over. This is what kind of brought this to this point. We were going back and forth about whether or not the United States is a corporation. I did a piece, and I'm gonna pull this piece up. Did an article on it back in 2016, I believe it was. And what I was doing with this was something very specific. I was addressing some very specific claims that people make about the United States being a corporation, very similar to that of, say, a Walmart or a Target of that sort. and the reasoning behind it. That's one of the things that we really wanted to get into tonight, is the reason behind why these people want to claim the United States is this corporation. And the reason behind it is they want to be able to subvert the laws of the United States or the several states wherever they're living in. That's one of the main reasons. So it's like, if you're an employee of Walmart, then you have to obey the laws of Walmart. But if you're not an employee of Walmart, then you don't have to obey the laws of Walmart. They have no jurisdiction over you. They have no authority over you. And so basically, this is the concept that they've adopted, and they're trying to use that as if you can actually do that with a government. And we know good and well that you can't do that. We see the videos of people getting their car windows busted out and getting dragged out of the car and all of that kind of stuff. So they're trying to convince themselves and other dumb people that that's something that you can do and get away with it. But there's no record of it, where people actually tolerate it. There's no level of government that actually believes what they're saying, from the executive to the legislative to the judicial. There's no branch of government, federal or state or municipal, that agrees with what they're saying. None. And so let me just show you this. Hold on, let me screen share this. Screen share. 1 second. Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, I labeled this the way that I did, for very specifically, right? I said the United States, and the date on it is January 16, 2016. So what I said is the United States, or United States of America, is not a federal or state incorporated entity, right? Because I understand that the root of the word corporation is the word corpus, meaning a body, right? So I wasn't trying to go there with it. I know that the United States is a body. I understand it's a body of states, and it is a body of persons, or a body of citizens. I understand that. That's why I said exactly what I said. The title of this particular article is very specific, and was addressing some very specific allegations. And so in this, what I did was I used Aemer as an example. If you can see this, you'll see that this is a conversation between Aemer and Sheikh Ware, and this was back in October, date here, October 6th of 2016, and they were talking about the United States being a corporation. And so let me just read to you what he says, because this is going to tie into the Phil Valentine piece, because Phil Valentine he plays a part in this conversation as well. But we're going to start here. I'm going to show you how I used him as an example to show he didn't know what he was talking about, number one. And then number two, how there is not even a consensus on how or when or where the United States became a corporation, the way that they're talking about it is a corporation. So Aemer says this. I'm going to try to make it a little bigger if I can. Or can you see this? Is this okay?
Yes, sir. See it clear, brother.
All right. So he says this. This is what he says to Lord Abba. LOL. Yeah, I don't agree. Now remember this. I don't agree with those who proffer that the United States became a corporation in 1871. The U.S. itself does not hide its history in starting as a company in 1774, forming the Articles of Association, followed by the Declaration of Independence 2 years later, and upgrading its corporate structure continuously into a larger corporation. Then he goes on and says, the Articles of Association is a document that contains the purpose of the company, as well as the duties and responsibilities of its members, defined and recorded clearly. It is an important document which needs to be filed with the Registrar of Companies. This is his idea of how the United States started. Obviously, if he didn't believe this, he wouldn't have said it. Right, so Abba goes on and says the Continental Congress of the 13 colonies existed prior to the Articles of Association. The states start as the colonies in Continental Congress, not the Articles of Association. The name of the companies that came over were called the Plymouth Company, these companies founded the colonies. The colonies would eventually form themselves as body politic when they began the Continental Congress in 1774. Aemer goes on and says, no one said that the states started as the colonies. Clearly, the colonies started as companies. See the Virginia Company and the London Company. There was no U.S. This is another thing you got to really pay attention to, because we're going to show how this is wrong. There was no U.S. or USA until the Articles of Association. The fact does not suggest that the colonies did not exist. Okay, so he's wrong in a number of areas. Wrong in a number of areas here. So part of the reason why we're focusing on them too, and him in particular, is because he was clout chasing on Phil Valentine's thread, where Phil Valentine was spitting a whole bunch of pseudo ahistorical nonsense, right, about the United States being a corporation, and being a corporation that started in 1871 with the act that Congress put in. What is the act to provide a government? I'm going off the top because I don't have everything in front of me. An act to provide a government for the District of Columbia. This is what Phil Valentine believes is the beginning of the corporation called the United States. Mind you, let's go back to the top here. Aemer says, what? I don't agree with those who proffer that the United States became a corporation in 1871. However, this is exactly what Phil Valentine was saying, that it started as the act to provide a government for the District of Columbia in 1871, and this somehow created a corporation called the United States. So this is how we got into this whole exchange here, and part of the reason I think that he jumped on clout chasing is because he knows that I made an example out of him in this note, showing that he didn't know what he was talking about, and that the Articles of Association, in this particular note, I explained that the Articles of Association did not start anything called the United States, not at all. And in terms of what the Articles of Association was for, had nothing to do with what he's trying to say it had anything to do with. And you know, so he's embarrassed. Basically, he's embarrassed because I made an example out of him. He's embarrassed. So at the end of the day, this note, anybody can read it. It's been up since 2016. It's now 2019. No one's to this day done a point for point rebuttal, because these are actual historical facts backed up with actual links of history and law. So that's basically what that is. Brother Abba, is there anything you want to add with that?
Yes, Islam. I definitely do. I want to shut down the argument about the United States of America being a corporation once and for all. And I think that this is the platform for us to really just give people an understanding of what does it mean that the United States of America is a corporation? Do you mean that it is a corporation like Wendy's, Walmart, and Target? That's exactly what they mean. If you ask the sovereign citizen, which is what they are, no matter how much they try to deny it, this question, they say that, well, yeah, the United States of America is a corporate, and this is their justification for being scofflaws and criminals. We want to break the law, and we want to be able to say, well, the United States of America has no jurisdiction. So I asked the question, asked questions of logic. Name another country in the world that is a corporation like the United States, meaning like a for-profit company like Wendy's, et cetera, which means the United States has stock and shareholders, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They say, oh, the United States is the only one. I said, well, that's interesting. How convenient. So let us get into the classifications of what a corporation is. We know that the etymology of corporation means corpus. It just basically means a body. So in an essential sense, the United States of America is a corporation, and so is every other country. But what is meant by this? Is there a distinction? let's go to the lawmen, as they call themselves, favorite law book, the Black's Law Dictionary. I'm reading out of the 5th edition. It says, according to the accepted definitions and rules, corporations are classified as follows: public and private. A public corporation is one created by the state for political purposes and to act as an agency in the administration of civil government, generally within a particular territory or subdivision, or the state, and usually invested for that purpose with subordinate and local powers of legislation, such as a county, city, town, or school district. These are sometimes called political corporations. See municipal corporations. It goes on to say a private corporation are those founded by and composed of private individuals for private purposes, as distinguished from governmental purposes and having no political or governmental franchises or duties. The true distinction between public and private corporations is that the former are organized for governmental purposes, the latter not. The term public has sometimes been applied to corporations of which the government owned the entire stock, as in the case of a state bank. But bearing in mind that public here is equivalent to political, it will be apparent that this is a misnomer. So I could keep going and keep going. I could also get into a municipal corporation, a legal institution formed by charter from sovereign or a sovereign, meaning the state. So in the way that the term corporation is being used, it has a dual application. And these guys, these confidence men, these con men, what they're doing is using the sovereign citizen ideology to say that the United States of America is a corporation, and so it has no jurisdiction. So you have to pay $300 for this book of fiction to take you out of some more fiction. So I just wanted to clarify what is meant by corporation. The United States of America, we have some guys in the chat. Some guy just said that it was the United States is incorporated in France. You're going to have all of these different theories, as opposed to the fact that there were 13 colonies that came over here that was sent by decree of King James I, same King James from your Bibles. They set up and established colonies here, 13. Well, the colonies became 13. They wanted independence from the crown, so they fought a war against, like, these are the historical facts, right, against King George III, and they won their independence. They signed the Declaration of Independence. They had the Articles of Association, the Articles of Confederation, which led to the Constitution of the United States of America, which brings me to one more quick point before my brother Ali Bey comes back on, and that is this. We were citizens in the United States of America from day one, and this is proven in the dissent of Sanford v. Scott. In the dissent of the two dissenters, which was Justice Curtis and Justice McLean, they give the historical facts, which say that when the Articles of Confederation was formed, that it was quote unquote Negroes or African Americans or whatever it is. Brother Ware, I tried to do that. It won't let me send the invite. I've definitely tried to do that. But our Noble Drew Ali, when he says our people have fallen from the constitutional fold of government, it means that we were once there. And it means the prophet never says that the United States of America turns into this corporation, this business. So then what they try to do is they try to move the goalposts and say, well, House Joint Resolution 192 in 1933 and the Social Security Act. And I said, well, can you point me to the specific text that says that the United States of America is now a business like Wendy's, Walmart, et cetera, et cetera? And they can never do that. And then I say, can Walmart launch missiles? It's rival company in China. These people are crazy, and we just gotta call them what it is. Yo, they need psychiatric help. Point blank.
They do. They do.
Well, I've been thinking for a long time that they just hustlers. They don't want to. They don't want to go to jail for selling dope no more. And so now they're scared to go to jail. I mean, go hard, grab a gun and rob. I mean,
that's right.
Be go hard with it. Why you faking? You gonna go ahead and take all of this information from Google. You ain't writing nothing.
Right.
You ain't going to no law library. You ain't doing none of that. Copying and pasting all of this stuff, and mixing it up so well that it can't be traced back unless you just grab the case specifically, and then before you know it, the next 5 lines, then they grabbed another case that don't even relate. And so you be like trying to put it together. And for somebody that's seeking to find themselves, they looking like, oh man, this is amazing. This is amazing. But the question I ask is, when was the last time that they demonstrated this?
That's right.
When was the last time did they really benefit from this themselves? And bro, when I seen that they was charging $1,500 for the whole package, you know, it was like the number 5. All right, number 5, you get status correction, you get
when they had a drive-through window. Look at the number 5.
The people going for it. And so in a nutshell, that's brother, one of the greatest points that you point out that really sparked me, and I'm gonna build off that. So if you hear it, I ain't trying to hear your mouth, Bob. I'm gonna build off this one. That came to put us back into the constitutional fold. And I always looked at it, but the way you just said it just put it in real perspective. That if he's putting us back, we had to fall from it because we
failed. And I believe that it was due to the fact that we accepted the names Negro, Black, and Colored, right? But there's also another element to that. In accepting the name Negro, Black, and Colored, we became creatures of legislation. So now we can introduce Jim Crowism. And this is what the prophet said, that it was our actions, basically not knowing who we were, that brought about Jim Crowism, et cetera, et cetera. So without this element, this creature of legislation, this Negro, this Black, and this Colored, then they have no way to even put us on puppet strings. There are no literacy tests. There's no need for the Voting Rights Act, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Indeed. So Brother Ali Bey, are you there?
Yo, I'm here. My bad. I had it muted.
Oh, you all right, brother? You all right, brother? So, Brother Ali Bey, when they say that Marra Kush, that is, when they say that Marra Kush, they got a law firm, the Aboriginal, they had this thing at the Aboriginal law firm or whatever the case may be. Just according to your understanding, because this is the brother that hooked me up with Akeisha Shabazz, that I could pick up the phone and she could come on the show at the drop of a dime. Shout out to Sister Akeisha. But Brother Ali Bey, when you have, according to what you know, because you was talking about the Asiatic brothers and sisters that had a legitimate law firm, if they have a law firm to practice law, do they have to pass the bar in order to stand and practice law as a law firm?
To be able to represent people, yes. To be able to represent people, definitely. They have to show themselves qualified, and they have to get all of the qualifications that the state requires for them to be able to do that inside of the courtroom, and to go past the bar, so to speak, inside of the courtroom. The railing, to be able to represent people. Like you can represent yourself without passing the bar exam. Pro se, you know what I'm saying? You can go pro se, or as these guys like to say, impropria persona, whatever. But it's pro se. You can represent yourself, but you can't represent other people without those qualifications. Like, you have to go to law school, you have to pass the bar exam, you have to be qualified by the state, you have to get that license from the state. And yeah, there is a law license. There is a law license. A lot of them think that there isn't. I've seen it.
That's right. Akeisha showed hers. I believe that was on Tahaka show.
Yeah.
She showed her.
Absolutely.
You know, I think they think of a license as a card that you put in your wallet.
But I'm gonna tell you something. She even has something smaller. She has something that she showed me personally.
Mm-hmm.
That is smaller. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So yeah, man. She has it. Look. There are a number of attorneys that I know. I have attorneys in my family. Okay, friends that are attorneys and stuff like that. So I understand that this stuff is a real business, man. These guys are jokers. You know, they're listening to these European sovereign citizens who told them that lawyers are the enemy and all of this stuff about they work for the crown and all of this nonsense. These people are employed right here by the people who hire them. If you hire them, they're working for you. Okay, they're working for you. You're the one paying them. That's what this whole thing about. When you work for somebody, you're working for somebody with the expectation of being paid. So if you're paying an attorney to represent you, he works for you. He works for you, and he has to. And when they say that an attorney's duty is to the court first, what they're talking about is their duty to the court is to uphold the rules and the ethics that an attorney is supposed to uphold when he's operating inside the judicial system. They're bound to certain codes of ethics and so forth. So they have to work with that as they're representing you. They can't go outside of that code of ethics and all of those other things. That's what they mean when they say that they're bound to their first responsibility is to the court. Yeah, to the duties that they have as an officer of the court and the code of ethics and everything else that goes along with that. And with that in mind, within those parameters, within those ethics, those parameters, they have to do their best to represent you and to put on a defense or whatever it is that they're trying to do, defense, offense, whatever it is that they're doing on your behalf, within the confines of what it is to be a lawyer without being disbarred. You understand what I'm saying? It's a code of ethics. That's what that's about. It's not no spooky thing and all of this stuff. They like to they throw around all of this spookism. Let me tell you something, man. These Moors are a lot of times more spooky than Christians, yo. Like, real talk.
Yeah, they're gone. I mean, it's sad. It's sad actually when I hear some of the arguments that they make. I've had people. I used to get called all the time, and I had a couple people mad at me that I wouldn't support the sovereign citizen. I had this dude call me a Mason and hang up. He hung up, you a Mason. Click. I just bust out laughing. I'm like,
now keep this, right? Let me show you something else, right? This is from the Murakush Society.org website, right? They have this. I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me know if you can see. How Moors challenge European jurisdiction. Can you see this?
Yeah.
All right, look. So this is funny because there's two conflicting things on this side. I'm going to show you how these guys are in contradiction.
That's what I want you to break down for me, brother. All of this crazy stuff that they sell, brother. This is good right here. Break this down, brother, because I wonder how people buy into this craziness. But hey, that's just me, brother. I appreciate this, brother. Let's go.
All right, so look, they have this thing. Let me just make sure you see this is really their site, Murakush Society, blah, 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 all of this, whatever. How Moors challenge European, not American, but European jurisdiction. Finally, we produced a book that details and outlines all the arguments and parameters for which Moors can effectively challenge the jurisdiction of European colonial courts, specifically U.S. courts. This book is over 200 pages of information, blah, 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 whatever, right? But the whole point is this. For Moors to effectively challenge the jurisdiction of European colonial courts, specifically U.S. courts. So here we go. Let's go to the other page. This one is, how do I become a Moor? Nationality, blah, blah, blah. Status correction. Nationality and status correction in phase 2. Look at what they tell you to do. The second phase is the status correction process, is correcting, changing your nationality and status with the courts. But they just say challenge the jurisdiction of the courts. Now we're going to go to the courts to correct our status, whatever status, with proper government agencies. Wait a minute, proper government agencies challenge the jurisdiction of the courts. If the courts don't have jurisdiction and they're colonial, wait a minute, now they said this is a colonial European court. If the court is colonial European, guess where the courts were made from? The courts get their authority from the constitutions, whether it's the state constitution, whether it's the United States Constitution, if it's federal courts. So that means if the courts are colonial European fake ass courts, then that means the United States is, and every other agency underneath it is colonial and fake. So now look at this. We're gonna go back.
Hold on. Real Ali, man, you know I cut people off. I got my brother Issa El Mahdi in the chat. This is one of my brothers. I think that's you, brother, that bought into the Marra Kush demonstration. And to me, he showed me the same paper that they all show on the website to show that they have beat a case and that his status was corrected. But it was the same paper that was on the website that anybody can lift from the website. And I say, bro, that looks familiar. It looks like the same paper on the website. And he's like, well, I didn't my real one.
I asked him the same thing. He could tell you, if he be honest, he'll tell you. I asked him when he posted it in the Facebook group. I said, is that the only one y'all got? Because y'all keep posting the same one. And this thing is from like 2014, 15, whatever it was. Like, since y'all haven't done any more of these things since then? Like, bro, to me,
he wouldn't show me his.
And look, man, Shyam, like, my thing is, if you're a general, you lead the charge, because that's what a general does. And these guys are not out there leading anything. If you get them in private conversation, let's just say you were part of that little all boys club, because you notice there's never no sisters with them brothers at all, right? So you start talking to them, they gonna start.
My wife's sitting right here. My wife's sitting right here with me. She's right here.
Hey.
Look, they're gonna tell you
he in the process of doing his. I thought you just pulled $100 book from these people. Come on, brother.
Go ahead, bro. My bad.
I mean, they just try to make up these stories. Like this dude, Cheyenne Brandon. All right, let me see.
And yeah, we're gonna call them Brandon and Cornell. And I'm gonna tell you why we're gonna call them Brandon and Cornell, because they filed documents with those names talking about their estates, talking about their estates were in the name of Brandon Casimir and Cornell Dixon. We have the documents where they filed it, so that's their names. That's what their real names are, Brandon and Cornell. Ain't nobody no caliph. There's no caliphate. All that stuff is fake, la la land nonsense.
Hey, so the brother, I want you to finish up, brother Ali Bey, what you was breaking down, because that's great interest. But the brother Issa El Mahdi, he must know it's a joke now. He says sisters are not out front. They in the house. Brother, you better go ahead and stop.
Yo, tell him when he tell Issa when he goes to change his status at the court, challenge the jurisdiction at the same time. I want to see him do it.
That's right. I'm here to correct my status, but while I'm correcting my status, I have to challenge y'all's jurisdiction. Like, how crazy do you have to be to not put the proverbial two and two together and see that this is absolutely nonsense, man.
Bro,
nonsense.
That's some knucklehead stuff.
I'm glad y'all point that out, because I mean, you know what? I think I just said in the beginning of the show that I look for common sense. I ain't catch that one though. I didn't catch that one, Lord Abba and Ali Bey. Like, for real, you coming there to challenge jurisdiction and what? But then you give them the power to test or change your status in another area.
Cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, That's serious. That's serious right there. Brother Ali Bey, go ahead, brother.
Well, I mean, that was it for that. But hold on, let me see what else, because they say a bunch of stuff. Oh, they say that the doctrine of discovery, foundation of European jurisdiction. You know what's interesting about the doctrine of discovery is the doctrine of discovery during the age of discovery came from the Portuguese Catholic Church. Underneath the Pope, I believe it was Pope Eugene was maybe one of the first ones. Pope Eugene might have been one of the first ones, because I know that that's something that I came across as we were doing research for the debate with Reggie. Was that it's a particular papal bull a lot of people weren't familiar with. Everybody always talks about the Romanus Pontificus and what's the other one? But I'm going off the top.
Romanus Pontificus and it's right there. Right.
The Dumb Diversus.
Right the Dumb Diversus, definitely.
So before those two, I found another one that was issued by Pope Eugene. I think it was Eugene IV. I forgot the guy's name. Infant something. But anyway, he was going down into Guinea, you know, and he gave him. He issued this papal bull called the Ilias Qui, 1442. The Ilias Qui, and inside of that particular papal bull is where that whole discovery thing starts. That's a Christian, Catholic doctrine. It's not no international law until later. That doesn't become international law until later. And in terms of it being even mentioned in the United States, that didn't happen until Thomas Jefferson. He was like one of the first people to mention the doctrine of discovery. But the United States itself was not founded on the doctrine of discovery, because the United States was a bunch of British colonists. Okay, the doctrine of discovery came from the Portuguese. The British and the Portuguese didn't have no connection religiously like that, because the British came through the Anglican Church. They didn't come through the Catholic Church. The Anglican Church was a Protestant church. Okay, they were protesting against the Catholics. So whatever discovery doctrine that came through the Portuguese didn't trickle down into the British, right? They just adopted it. They started claiming it because these Europeans are liars. Right, and so they lied, and they put that in the case of McIntosh versus, I think, Georgia or whoever it was, right, where they tried to use it against the Native Americans, and they did use it against the Native Americans to expand, you know, the territory within the country. So they lie and they use that to try to overshoot the Aboriginal claims to the lands and stuff like that. But the point of the matter is, like they're saying here, the doctrine of discovery is the foundation of European jurisdiction. It's not really the foundation of all European jurisdictions. It's the foundation of the Portuguese and the Spaniards who fell underneath the Catholic Church. The Anglican Church, which was the British church, they were Protestants. They didn't come underneath that. They were protesting against the Catholics. So that didn't trickle down to them. They started using that later. The United States was founded. The United States was founded as an act of self-determination and will. That's how the United States was founded. It was not founded based off of no charter from any British sovereign. It was not founded based off of an act of the legislature inside of the United States Congress. That's stupid in and of itself. So the bottom line is, if you look at the Declaration of Independence, you'll see it was an act of self-determination. They went to war. There was a physical war. People fought and died. That's how the United States was birthed, out of a war and self-determination and the will of the people. Sheer will of the people. It had nothing to do with incorporating with a sovereign. That's why I say the United States is not an incorporated entity. You'll never find incorporation documents. You're never going to find it, because that's not how it was birthed. That's just a lie. They're perpetuating a whole bunch of lies and a whole bunch of ahistorical, pseudo-legal, ahistorical BS.
But Islam is where Ellen?
I don't know.
I can't see the screen. I think I invited him. For whatever reason, I can't pull up my screen anymore.
I don't see him.
I think I'm on screen. Let me stop sharing. I don't
see him. If you can hear me, I added you to the conversation. Click on the camera button and see if you could come in. It shows that you're in the conversation.
I don't know why my camera's not working, man. This is crazy.
Well, I'm telling you, earlier what had happened was, earlier I went in on Braswell Bay. He made a few calls. See, he made a few calls. and anything can happen now. You know, anything can happen. But that's all right. We gonna get through this.
Can I say something about that, bro? I was listening to that earlier, and the piece you played of Braswell Bay saying what he said about Bailey L, I was like, damn, that's all we needed when we did our thing, man. The 5-hour science temple, they called us, man.
And you know the crazy thing about it? I have more footage, bro. I have more footage. And guess what? The funny thing about it is, I didn't even ask him no question. The funny thing about it, he would look at me and think that he would feel compelled to be gracious to talk about Bailey L. I know game. If you've been in the streets, then you know when somebody pumping game. You know what I'm saying? Real recognize real. And so I'm sitting up there, and real can recognize fake. And so I'm not calling the Supreme Grand Sheik Braswell Bay fake. He is okay. We got our brother in, but real quick, yeah, we got our brother in. We got to give him the floor.
Okay.
Anyway, while he was talking, I could tell that he was directing it towards me, and he would do the classic thing. He will talk nice about Bailey L and then strike him down in the same time. So in the video, that's what he's doing. He would talk real nice, and then he said, but, you know, he did some terrible things. And the things that he I forgive him too. I'm like, what did he do? You know? So, bro, on February the 3rd, when I present the rest of the footage, and I present the paper trail and historical account, and I'm telling you, there is no running from this information. The way that I have laid out and weaved out the way I have weaved together. I don't care if you are in the first day of kindergarten. You cannot stop it. And the first day you will be like, oh, wow. You know, and so thank you for the drop. On February 3rd,
I don't know if it's me, but it sounds like it's breaking up.
Yeah, it sounds like that to me too.
Oh, okay. I thought that was me.
That is we got brother Ware there.
Yeah, I'm here. Peace. I've been trying to get on all night.
I'll just
hold up 1 second. I'm gonna close out some of these tabs real quick because mine is dragged too. Let me close out some of these tabs. There we go.
Brother Ware, yeah, definitely introduce yourself and come right in and give you a breakdown. I'm having issues over here. I don't know how to get back to my screen, but I wanted to.
It's a storm here too, in Baltimore. It's a storm. It's wind blowing. It's a lot going on here also.
Yeah, you was just breaking up for a good little minute.
Let me see something.
You good now though?
Oh, all right. Yeah, it's a storm here too. It's bad outside. I had to bring the junkyard dog Pitbull in. She can't be out there, and she sees a junkyard dog, or somebody want to come in the yard. But hold on, I'm gonna see if I can. Man, this is crazy. I can see a chop.
Yeah, it went out.
He done dropped off again. Yo, but
yeah, good, bro.
I done missed the majority of the show. I don't know where it all went, where we're at now, but you know, I'm brother Charles Ware. Many people know me, many people don't, but I don't know where we left off, or y'all brothers can kind of like bring me up to speed where y'all at, and then I can just get right in.
You know what? Do you have the court cases? Because I was trying to pull some of them up so we could go into all of their L's, because they took a lot of L's. I mean, a lot of losses.
We talking about Shyam and Murakush?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cornell and
Cornell
Brandon.
and Brandon.
Yeah.
That's what we talking about.
Lawmen are losing.
The record.
Let the record show, man. The record's gonna show.
These
on the record, for the record, let the record reflect.
These court cases up and down the board, man. They got to be the biggest losers, man, in the whole entire community, right?
Up and
There's
down.
There's a lot of losers in this community. It's a lot of people who are promoting this scoff law craziness, but these dudes single-handedly have precedent on the East Coast. Like, they have set precedents for all of that stuff. They talk about challenging all of the stuff that they be talking about. They single-handedly have set legal precedents for all of that stuff to just get thrown out because of so much case law that they have been avalanched with on the losing side in Florida, New Jersey. We can go into archives and go case for case for case. I know y'all have already been on for over an hour, but we could literally go on for hours and hours on different cases that they've just put together, the most sloppy and clumsy claims that you can see ever presented. And they have the audacity to come to the public like there's some legal masters who have the solutions for our problems when all they have done is lose again and again and again. But then they have the arrogance and the attitude and the audacity to come to our people and charge them $500 to $1,000 to $1,500 for these so-called packages where they can correct your status. Years ago, they preached expatriating, and expatriation was the solution, and dissolving all the ties that lock you in and connect you to America. Neither one of them have done it yet. Neither one of these guys have done it yet, but they say that's the answer. Right. To be a stateless person. Then they say that the United States of America is a fraudulent corporation that doesn't have jurisdiction over them. But then they'll sell you, the consumer, they'll charge you $500 and $1,000 packages to submit this fictitious fraudulent government for them to change your status and correct your status. But they don't have no jurisdiction over you in the first place. So how are they going to correct something for you if they don't even have the jurisdiction? The money's not backed by nothing, and that the money is fake, but it doesn't stop them from charging you $100 for a book and $300 for a book, plus phases of felonious, useless information. These dudes, like, we have to really, in this community, there's a lot of tracks, a lot of what they're doing is criminal. When they first went into the courtroom, they were criminals when they lost. And all these Facebook lawyers, they legal masters, what were you in the court for in the first place for? These people, I don't care, Moorish, American, I don't care what you are. One judge, you're a Martian. If you commit a crime in our jurisdiction, you can get prosecuted. These type of scam artists want to tell you that because you're a Moorish American or you're a Moor, that you can sell cocaine and you go fire. You don't need a driver's license to drive. That is nothing but weak, 2-bit con artistry at its weakest. Good con, because it doesn't work. And it will work.
That's true.
It doesn't even work.
Bro.
Everybody is losing. You got all of these weirdos. Into this community, and we keep just accept. Then they meant to promote all of their foul, dirty ways. This show is about Shyam. Well, not Shyam. They don't even deserve to be called them names because he's not no Ayatollah. Cornell is not no Sultan.
For real.
Land. They haven't built any businesses, and they haven't helped him go to jail. So
let's get it. Let's get into that case real quick because I got it pulled up. Let's get into this case real quick. This is the case from New Jersey. I don't have the proper heading on this one. This is the one when I isolated when I did the note on Facebook a couple years back on my other page. So I don't have the heading on this one. So let's get into this, man, because we got to show that these brothers are not who they say that they are, and we got to give some breakdowns and context. It says, moreover, since members of the Marra Kush group keep insisting that they are not state citizens, the Article 6 has another reason not to have any relevance to them. Analogously, Articles 20 and 21 of the treaty, and when the judge in this case says Article 6, he means Article 6 of the Constitution. This is the Camden, New Jersey, U.S. Federal District Court. It says, analogously, Articles 20 and 21 of the treaty are facially inapplicable to the Marra Kush group, since they had no right to consular assistance and no United States citizen was killed or wounded them in the Mediterranean. It says they were arrested, searched, detained, criminally prosecuted, bailed, etc., well within the borders of the United States. And in any event, equal justice was already available to them under the safeguards of the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause, and it gives a bunch of case law. It says the decision to criminally prosecute a self-declared Moor is constitutionally independent of any consular interest in assistance. Now, this is key. There's several elements, right? So I want to kind of work backwards on this one. In 1956, Dwight D. Eisenhower issued a memorandum that closed down consular jurisdiction in not only Morocco, but in several other countries. One of the provisions was the section 145 through 147, 145 through 174, where they're repealing all of these different provisions that are basically codified aspects of their dealings with Morocco. Chapter 2, Consular Courts, sections 141 to 143, repealed August 1st, 1956, chapter 80770, statute 774, act, August 1st, 1956, repeal sections 141 to 143. Now, this is for consular courts, and the counselors exist at the consular courts upon the date which the president determined to be, let me scroll up, appropriate for the relinquishment of jurisdiction of the United States and Morocco. Jurisdiction of the United States and Morocco was relinquished by memorandum of President Eisenhower dated September 15th, 1956. Notice was given to Morocco on October 6th, a month later, 1956, and all pending cases were disposed of by 1960. And it gives you a bunch of bulletins to check out, and it goes on to say, related to judicial authority generally of ministers and councils of United States and China, Siam, Turkey, Morocco, Muscat, Abyssinia, Persia, and territories formerly part of the Ottoman Empire, including Egypt. And then it gives you the sections that were repealed of 145 through 147. So I'm not going to read this whole thing. I'm going to just give people some context of what was repealed. Okay, section 149, related to warrant, arrest, trial, and sentence by counsel. All of these things that are in provisions of the treaty, particularly Article 20 and Article 21. I don't have the treaty pulled up right now in front of me. Section 150, related to jurisdiction of counsel sitting alone in criminal cases and finality of decision. All of these provisions from, let me see, where does this start at? 145 all the way to 161 is directly related to counselor courts and counselor representation. So when the judge says, let me see, it says Articles 20 and 21 of the treaty are facially inapplicable to the Marra Kush group since they had no right to consular assistance. What the judge is explaining is that in 1956, consular courts, consular representation was by memorandum of Dwight D. Eisenhower relinquished in Morocco. These people that hold themselves up as these geniuses, and you all take these people as these wise, smart men, are nothing but common. And I don't want to be long-winded, but I want to finish this last little bit of this paragraph because this is important. Moreover, since members of the Marra Kush group keep insisting that they are not United States citizens, Articles 20 cannot possibly have no relevance to them, since the article focuses solely on interactions between United States citizens. Consequently, all prisoners' litigation-like claims challenging any events associated with arrests, searches, detention, incarceration, prosecution, conviction, etc., that occur within the United States' actual geographical territory, and especially if these events involve individuals who reside within that territory, they live right here in the United States, cannot possibly implicate any provision of the treaty with Morocco. Therefore, all such prisoners' litigation-like claims invoking the Barbary treaties, either collectively or individually, are necessarily frivolous, which in turn means that any pleading asserting such claims is not bona fide. End quote. So we could start breaking this down and proving that these guys are frauds. Remember, they have a book, How to Challenge Jurisdiction or Challenge European Jurisdiction. They have not done it. In fact, what the Marra Kush group has done is set precedents in the court. So when somebody else makes it to the federal level with their bogus Moor or Mur, M-U-U-R claims, what they're going to say is defendant such and such L. Bey using treaty arguments is wholly frivolous. And they're going to put in parentheses, see Camden, New Jersey, or state of New Jersey versus Marra Kush, and they're going to give all the sites. And these guys are frauds. They're lying to you. They're sharing they're sharing the wool of the sheep from the back, and the wool is falling over its faces and its eyes. People, you got to wake up to this madness. Wake up. No more of this stuff.
Indeed.
Like, please, y'all, just go in on the part where it says, moreover, since members of the Marra Kush group keep insisting that they are not United States citizens, Articles 20 cannot possibly have no relevance to them. These guys are claiming that the United States of America has no jurisdiction over them. So if the United States of America has, one, no jurisdiction, two, they are not United States citizens, it is impossible for the treaty to apply to them. And here's a third one. If the United States is this federal or corporation like Wendy's, Walmart, et cetera, then what is the United States? What is it for you to even go in the courtroom and use a treaty between the United States, which you all have to admit doesn't even exist anymore as a country if it is a corporation like Wendy's, Walmart, etc. Your Honor, I rest my case.
Woo! Bombs.
God rest my king.
Back up, son. I dropped bombs, man. Dropped bombs. Yo, them dudes was calling. Them dudes said we was Negroes and stuff, man.
I know. That's all they can do is resort to insults.
That's it.
Misdirection and red herrings because they have no facts.
Right. They should have came out April 10th when we was out there to Hawker, because they could have said that stuff to our faces. They could have said that to our faces instead of on Facebook.
You know?
Absolutely.
You know?
So bro, I'm like definitely enjoying this. Let me see what else I got on Marra Kush. Let me see what else that always boggles me about Marra Kush. Oh, did y'all hear about that? They said they're gonna stop offering status correction.
I heard you mention that.
Yeah. They said they're gonna stop. Matter of fact, let's see if I can pull it up. They said
that is hilarious.
As of January 1, they're gonna stop offering status correction. Let me see. And they said, you better get a sale now because this is our last time. Yeah, America.
Yo,
I saved it somewhere. America.
Y'all better come by this bogus information now because we're gonna discontinue it.
I got something else I wanna show if y'all don't mind. Can y'all see?
Yeah. Let's see.
Can you see this?
Yeah.
All right. Hold on. Let me see. Let me go back here. This is a conversation between myself and Cornell. It's just from back when I was trying to help him get the law firm to assist them with filing the documents they didn't know how to file right. So look, he says, now my boy's name is Navarro, right? Navarro Gray. Y'all probably know who he is. You might have seen him because he's like a big time entertainment lawyer, criminal defense attorney, all of that kind of stuff like that. He's definitely big in New Jersey. Got his own law firm, the whole nine, right? I got video with, he's got his own building, the Gray building, because his name is Navarro Gray. The building is named after him. The mayor, everybody came out, dedicated the building to him, all that, real big, right? Anyway, this is what he says. Yeah, Navarro on some bullshit. I say, well, he said that they were discussing, talking about him and the other guys, the partners at the firm that he was working at. They were discussing it and concluded that your suit will more than likely be thrown out. And he said they could take the case, but they don't want it to be a situation where they take it and your money and then it gets thrown out and then you guys take the position that they didn't do their job or something. And then he said, hold up, I moved too fast. When we go back, he says, yeah, they told us that on the phone. He told us that on the phone. So he already knew this, right? He already knew this. Then I went on and said, they don't want you guys feeling that way. He said that there are different things in your suit that should be separated because they had a whole bunch of stuff jumbled up, right? This is what they did. People from across jurisdictions and everything, they threw it all in one lawsuit, right? And trying to sue them all in one place. And he said the suit presents like it's an appeal. This is what he also said. The suit presents like it's an appeal, and they feel that based on the timeline of events, it's too late for an appeal. Right. And he says, yeah, he was saying that we should separate certain things. So he know that they have fucked up. Pardon me, man. My bad. I hope the kids. I mean to say that, talker.
You okay, brother? Let it out. Get it out, brother. It's all right.
Let me so then let me see where we at with this. Because there's more. There's more. Yeah, he says, yeah, he was saying that we should separate certain things. There are more than one complaint. Yeah, we might holler at them about an appeal. I said, so this is me on the blue. I said, so it appears to me that there's an issue of procedure. And then he says, because that is what stage we are in right now. Yeah, when we spoke to him, he actually didn't even read the main suit from the rip. He said they couldn't do the Delaware, I guess D is Delaware, the Delaware joint. See, that shows you they're trying to cross jurisdictions and have them all jumbled up in one lawsuit in one jurisdiction. That's why they was trying to tell them they needed to separate the stuff. And then he says, but there was one related to an issue he said we should appeal, and the other was straight up complaint material. right? So I said to him, it might be best to allow them to dismiss what you filed without prejudice and then refile them in the way where they can't say it's too late for this or that. And go to the next thing. And he says here, the one against New Jersey and several municipalities was the one we were really concerned with. That's the one he was talking about Navarro. That's the one he was talking about as far as being separated, because there are different incidents in that one suit. I said, yeah, he mentioned that as well. He said there are things in there that need to be separated also. He also said that it's worded in a way, listen to this, he said it's worded in a way that it will make it easy for them to file motions to dismiss and to have certain things not even heard, right? And he says, yeah, the court already gave us 30 days to get a law firm or else they're going to dismiss because we don't have an attorney and are using the corporation, right? And he says, using the corporation to bring the suit. I said, right. It might be best to let them dismiss it. And then he agreed and said, yeah, then maybe work along with an attorney to ensure that procedurally all bases are covered. And he said, yeah, bring it back with a form. So look, they don't know what they're talking about, man. They don't know what they're doing. Bro, I was trying to help them jokers out, man. They don't know what they're doing. Them dudes don't know what they're doing, son. Like, real talk, they don't know what they're doing, man. They got all of these people tricked thinking they know.
Let me ask the question, because I'm familiar with some of their filings. Right? Do you think that they just couldn't afford the lawyers? Because they filed all of these filings in form of pauperis. Which
look, exactly. That's what happened. They try to file in form of pauperis on behalf of their corporation. They trying to make believe that their corporations are bringing lawsuits.
Yeah, and corporations can't file in form of pauperis.
That's what the judges keep telling them. You can't do that. You can't file in form of pauperis. That's for individuals, right? You can't do that. The corporation can't do that. And so they want to challenge the court on that. Oh, we're going to challenge the court because there's no rule that says that they can't. Assign an attorney to us, you know, and form like yo, man, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Why are you trying to go in the courts of no jurisdiction, these colonial courts of no jurisdiction in the first place? For what? What you going in there for?
That's right.
And like the brother Ware said, the whole reason the Moors in court videos, and this is for Issa and whoever else is listening. You know why they got them Moors in court videos? Because they're criminals and they're not even good at being criminals. That's why they got caught.
That's right. That's right.
Indeed. Hey, so look, what I was looking at right real quick. So check this out. So I just wanted to share with people that if you're still interested in Marra Kush, we got about 20 more minutes, but if you're still interested in Marra Kush, let me just share what they offer for you. So what they offer, they do offer for the next 3 days. This was in October, but they do this every other week. I mean, this was in November. For the next 3 days, they was offering free 15-minute consultations. They're going to talk to you for 15 minutes. Now, listen, if y'all interested, y'all welcome. For today, it was only for that day, but if you call them, I'm sure they'll make some arrangements. Normally their consultations are $100 an hour. Now, consider yourself blessed and be grateful, because normally it's $100 an hour. But today, they're gonna let you talk one-on-one for 15 minutes for free. They get questions all the time from Moors who need remedies and solutions. Write your questions down that you want to discuss so we can receive direct answers to your problem. Schedule your free consultation today and speak with Shyam or Aemer directly one-on-one. We look forward to your call. Schedule
I'm gonna pay them dudes just to debunk them. I would disguise my voice and I would just ask a whole bunch of questions and make them dudes just look like fools and record the whole conversation. But I wanted to touch on something. If somebody else has something to add real quick, go ahead. I wanted to
one more thing, brother, before I let you go, real quick. So family, another thing, if you want to support their weed habit, You want to know? You can go to their website, MurakushSociety.org, and they have plenty of books that they done jumbled up. You know what I mean, like gumbo. They're $75, $74.99. The one that Brother Ali Bey is just debunked is How to Challenge European Jurisdiction as if we're somewhere in Europe. If you weed habit, you're welcome. They have tons of books here. You can support their weed habit, and that's the best I can help you with that, because I don't want to. Matter of fact, take it all the way to the top. Take it and get the Sundry Free Moors bill, which you can get offline. Actually, you actually can Google it, but they'll sell it to you for $100 with a bunch of mumbo jumbo. But with that being said, take it and support their Kush habit. I mean, their weed habit.
Cushion cheeseburgers, man. Cushion cheeseburgers, son. Don't forget them cheeseburgers.
Cushion hot wings. Cushion hot wings.
Hey, I told Marra Kush, and I'm glad this came to a head on this show, because I've made a statement to Marra Kush that this year was the year that they get shut down completely. So this is going to be the first of a series of shows. Every time they open their mouth, we're going to be on their heels. Take it away, Lord Abba.
Definitely. Yeah, it's time to put them boys to bed, man. You know, sometimes little young boys, they don't want to grow up. They think they try to call you old, and at the end of the day, they want to reject the wisdom, and then they get beat up, and then they want to come back and say, you was right. But them brothers, they ain't gonna do that. They just gonna keep doing this. But I want to snatch the legs from under these guys again, because one of the main premises that they push, well, the main products, I should say, that they push is under the premise that you could somehow correct your status. So again, I want to go to the lawman's favorite law book, and I mean them as the lawmen, right? Black's Law 5th edition. I want to read status. The legal definition of status, according to Black's Law Dictionary, states: standing, state or condition, social position, the legal relation of individual to the rest of the community, the rights, duties, capacities, and incapacities which determine a person to a given class, a legal personal relationship, not temporary in its nature, nor terminable at the mere will of the parties, with which third persons and the state are concerned. And they give, of course, a bunch of case law, and then it says, while term implies relation, it is not a mere relation. And the reason why I wanted to read that is because Prophet Noble Drew Ali teaches us that there, according to all true and divine records, there is no or are no Negroes, blacks, coloreds, or Ethiopians, whatever name they have for us, attached to the human families of nations. And this is important. This means that such people don't exist. That's why when I hear more saying, what you mean, the NBCs, I try to correct them. It's like, there's no NBCs, bro. They're Moors that don't know that they're Moor. Exactly. But these guys try to make it seem like black is a status in the United States of America. Black is not a status. Black is a socio-political construct. Now, the status of the people whom are called black is usually poor or disenfranchised, depending on their criminal background, et cetera, et cetera. That's right, due to the rates and numbers per capita. But this status applies to all who are incarcerated. So if a person is identified by birth as a white person, for instance, and he does a crime, and let's just say it's equal time, because sometimes it's not fair. We don't get equal time. We may get more time. But let's just say this person gets equal time and he or she becomes a felon in a state where felons can't vote. That person is not going to be able to vote because he or she is white. That person's record is not going to change. That person's status as a felon is not going to change because he or she is white. So when they try to give us this smoke and mirrors about black is the status that has to be corrected, and once it's corrected, then you're somehow free from the burdens that the rest of the people call Negroes, blacks, and colored, etc., are affected by, and they provide the magic bullet. Well, you got to know that I have a Brooklyn Bridge to sell you as well if you want to buy into that stuff, because it's bogus. Status correction is a myth.
Fact.
That's right.
Fact. So family, I want to know if anybody can answer this. This is just a roll of the dice question. And I'm not being condescending. Well, I probably am. Anyway.
Me too.
Anyway.
Something to add to that when you finish talking.
When you look at Marra Kush Society, what exactly is the legal definition of a society? Because I only see Aemer, it's two more flunkies. He had doctor on his name, but he took doctor off because he knew I was going to get him. He already knew I was going to get him. I had to leave him on the phone, Dr. something. And then there is one more in North Carolina, another flunky, but what is this society? What do they mean by they are a society? I don't get that part.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess they mean like on the internet that they get together and they talk crazy about other people, on the internet, call names instead of being, saying stuff to people's faces when you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they know they're gonna be somewhere. It's like that kind of thing. That's sucker boy stuff.
I just looked up society. and it said basically people living together in more or less ordered community.
That's right. That's right. An association or company of persons generally unincorporated. See, the problem with Marra Kush is it's just done two dudes, and then you get a few stragglers that come along every year. Then they fall off. Then a couple more scragglers come along, and they try to make it seem like they doing the biggest thing in the world and got the biggest movement, and that they are the rival to the Moorish Science Temple of America. But Prophet Noble Drew Ali gathered thousands of people together under the Moorish Science Temple of America. They had restaurants. They had laundromats. I mean, let's even go past Prophet Noble Drew Ali. They brought a whole set of buildings in Brooklyn, New York, and called it Noble Drew Ali Plaza. I believe a brother from the Nation of Islam did that. I mean, like, we got stuff that we could point to. We got brothers, Sheikh Jerry Lewis Bey, that sat down with officials from Morocco. You got the brother, Grand Sheikh Frederick Turner L, that sat down and like they built relationships with Morocco. What in the world has Marra Kush built with Morocco? What has Marra Kush built for the people here in the United States of America? Somebody come in the chat and say, Marra Kush help me do this, or Marra Kush help me do that. Show and prove.
And as far as these court cases go, let me just go a little further. They talk all of this stuff about going in and out of courts and how blacks ain't got no standing. Shelley versus Kramer. Brown versus Board of Education. That's right. Powell versus Alabama, would overturn the convictions of the Scottsboro boys. Brown versus Board of Education, which reversed the Plessy versus Ferguson. Separate but equal.
And that's important.
This is important. These are landmark decisions.
That Plessy versus Ferguson case is important because it's also used in starving citizen circles.
Right. So when they say blacks don't have no standing, and that Moors is them claiming that they're going to some colonial European Christian court to have their race changed some more, makes them feel like they got superpower. I guess they on some Kanye West kind of thing where they go to the European court and they start feeling like they got superpowers after that. You know what I'm saying?
MAGA pheasants. Them dudes gonna have pheasants with MAGA across the.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? They feel like they got superpowers now. You know what I mean? But it's like this, man. The bottom line is you got quote unquote black people and black Christians at that who are occupying seats of government at every level of government inside of this country, from the federal down to the municipal levels. These guys ain't doing nothing like that.
That's right. Nothing.
They're not doing nothing like that.
You talk about the Negro organizations. Show me where Marra Kush has done anything to rival the NAACP.
The Urban League. The Justice League. Okay?
That's right.
Any of these things.
Anything. They've done nothing. And you people are putting your faith in a bunch of con men, a bunch of losers who have gotten rich, who got fat off of your pain and your suffering. You were looking for some solution because you, like the brother Damian Wilson, who took on the name Mustafa, I believe it was Mustafa El Bey, and he went to these frauds. He went directly to New York and got this paperwork, this dissolution, and what was it called then? The dissolution and what was it called?
Dissolution and disingenuous.
So he goes to New York, gets this stuff. Now this brother gets caught with like 5 pounds of bud and a gun, illegal handgun in Virginia. So he goes to court. And he's challenging jurisdiction. None of this stuff is working. The judge says, I was going to give you the minimum, 5 years. But now I'm going to give you the maximum allowed. I hereby sentence you to 11 years. So he has to hire a lawyer. That's right. He has to hire a lawyer. The lawyer comes on and cites bad legal information. That he got bad legal information from a group called the Aboriginal Law Firm to try to fight and get 6 years knocked off of his sentence. Tell me how that's helping the people. This man went directly to them, got a step-by-step. This is what you do. This is how you do it. Because when it doesn't work, and it never does, these people come up with this line, you ain't do something right. Everybody ain't do something right.
Hey,
everybody?
That used to be the RV Bay excuse for a long time.
Yo, you know what they need to do too? Hey, Tahaka, can you pull up on the Marra Kush site where they talk about they help people fix their credit?
I got you.
That is hilarious.
You talk about that too, because Brandon and Cornell need to show their credit reports and show people how they fix theirs. Because then what they're gonna need to do is explain how they get credit reports in the first place, social security numbers and all that. I want to see what names is actually on their credit reports too. They need to show people. Look, this is what Marra Kush needs to do. And I don't know why these jokers don't ask these dudes for this stuff. Show where you've actually won a case using any of the stuff that you're talking about.
That's right.
Just one, at least one, because everything that we see, all you've done is loss. Like the brother said, up and down the East Coast, you do nothing but lose.
Yo, the first ever squatting on a home case I ever seen broadcast on the news was Marra Kush down in Florida. First ever
down in Florida. I got the article.
First ever case.
I got the article of Damian Wilson pulled up.
Mm-hmm.
With the Asian, he had to go and get the Asian attorney to represent him. The Asian attorney's like, yeah, these guys gave him bad legal advice.
That's right.
You know, he's up there giving Earth coordinates and all kind of
39 degrees south, 43 minutes west. This is what these dudes do. I don't have an address. Yo, come on, Earth
coordinates, man. You know what I'm saying?
So,
like,
bro,
go ahead, bro.
So what I could find on this, I'm not sure if this is what you was looking for, but what I could find on this is that they're going to sell you some money and credit training. So it says you need $100 first. I shouldn't even be telling y'all that. Y'all should be paying me on Moorish TV at least $5 for this stuff. They want 100. They want 100. Money and credit. Detailed course regarding money and credit. Moors will learn the essentials of credit and how to properly manage and invest their money. Now, they're going to tell you what to do with their money. They're going to buy weed with theirs but they're going to see what to do with you. Anyway, the course is a video audio, self-administered and self-paced study. The membership access is a year. Course material, PDF, videos, discussions, and forums. Time frame, 12 months. See, I know what's going on. It's the same thing that's happening why RBB got shut down. It's the same reason. Many people just went to their quiet corner and just say they got me. But we need now some of the people to come out and speak against this so they don't get nobody else. Because I'm sure quite a few people then bought into this bogus stuff. Their life never been enriched. Nothing has never changed. They don't feel better about themselves. They done took them bogus. So the moment they had them bogus IDs and they had the bogus birth certificates and all of this stuff. I
still got all that stuff too. Yo, they had the what was they calling it? The nativity something, and they had like the symbols from the Aztecs on it. Like, yo, I'm like, yo, man, and they were selling this stuff as some. Let's break down. I just want to say this real quick. There's a psychological condition called the Dunning-Kruger effect. Now, I urge you all to look up the Dunning-Kruger effect. And what the Dunning-Kruger effect is when you have people of low ability and low IQ that present themselves as if they have high ability or great abilities and high IQ. Basically, they are, what's the dude name from In Living Colors? Oswald Bates, I believe his name is. Talking a whole bunch of stuff and saying a whole bunch of nothing. Look up the Dunning-Kruger effect. This is what the brothers of Marra Kush suffer from, the Taj Tariq Beys, all of these sovereign citizen Moors and their followers like the brother Isa Al-Mahdi L up in the chat. Like there's this other brother I want to shout out real quick. I want to shout this brother out, Neb Ankh Patar.
Oh my goodness, bro. Hey, bro. Abba. Good Abba. I'm gonna give you my word, bro. If I've ever run into this guy, he better be crazy to say with that dumb grin that they like. I was playing, you know, I was playing.
Yeah,
that is the most annoying, unqualified, uneducated brother I have ever met.
He's a troll. What he does is he puts the pom-poms on in the cheerleading skirt for whoever's pushing this information. This brother once told me that he was getting money from out of his birth certificate account. He was using his black card he could go to the ATM at any time. A month later, this dude was locked up for months. You didn't bail yourself out?
With his birth certificate card.
You couldn't get a card to wifey and tell her, yo, put the PIN number in the ATM machine and withdraw my bail money and get me up out of here? Really?
Yo, that's the other thing they be talking about. They're victims of human trafficking when they get arrested for having cocaine on them and all that.
They don't know the definition of kidnapping. Kidnapping is somebody taking you against your will. Being arrested is you being criminally, you're taken because you violated some law, period. And if you haven't, you could get your case dismissed. If you get kidnapped, like what? Come on, man. These people are crazy, man.
Yo, check this out. You can you see the screen? I want you to see something.
Yeah. It said political prisoners. That's funny. That's these people crazy.
Oh, nah, this is not the one. Hey, Tahaka, can you bring up their right to travel package? I just want to talk about that real quick too. And then I want to talk to you. I want to talk about Self Kingdom. Self Kingdom came on your show and he talked about his expatriation experience.
Oh yeah, that was serious.
Oh yeah, wait, before you go, he came on one of my threads and said that like last year, he said I expatriated And he said, I quickly found out that United States citizenship is God in other countries.
Right, right. He realized the trick bag that he put himself in. And I respect that brother's testimony. Like, he actually went through that. This dude, I don't know if you can see my screen or not, but this dude, he tagged you. I don't know if you ever seen this. This was back in 2017. He says, so Taharka pathetically goes and gets some bum nobody knows who allegedly expatriated and throws him up as an example of why Moors shouldn't correct status when Moorish nationality status correction is done before expatriation for those Moors in Murakush who complete step 5 of the status correction book, volume 1. These old grows, I guess he meant old Negroes, need to sit down, LOL. Them politics won't stop our grind at Mansa. Now, he's going to try to act like this brother's reality wasn't his reality.
You know what amazes me? They didn't expatriate yet.
No.
Why did they expatriate? Or Shyam?
And why they still here?
Yeah, I don't get this part.
Why they not living in some Muslim country somewhere?
That's the key. Why are y'all here? Why in the world are you still in the United? Why keep yourself confined within this geographical boundary? And this is where the cognitive dissonance comes in at. You love American life.
Yeah,
you love
like you like to go to the corner and get weed. I'm gonna keep the weed jokes going, I tell you.
That's all right.
That's right. But yeah, that's crazy though. Like for real, like if you don't want them to have jurisdiction, let's get out of the jurisdiction.
There you go. Make it real simple. Make it real simple. You expatriating allegedly, go live in Morocco. How come they don't live in Morocco?
Because them European watered down Arabs and Spaniards will run them up out there. That's why.
Right, because in Morocco you got to have a driver's license to drive. And hey, you know what else? Let me tell you something, man.
Wait, more.
Okay.
In Morocco, you have to have a driver's license to drive.
You do. You gotta have a driver's license, and you gotta have a passport. Now check this, right? Check it with these Muslims.
You gotta have permission.
Check this, right? Because they think that they Muslims and they better Muslims than the Moors in the temple. You know, you see them making all these little lame little comments like this, right? Check this out, right? How are they going to make the Hajj? The Hajj is one of the 5 pillars. How are they going to make the Hajj? Because in order to get into Arabia, you have to have a passport and a visa from a sovereign nation. How the hell are they going to make the Hajj, man?
That's right. Unless they expatriate from America, become citizens of another country, and then go make the Hajj. Period.
They don't make any. Only people that go for this stuff is the uneducated and the hopeful that has been lost. They just hopeful and they've been lost and they like, oh, this sounds good. But here's the introduction to Right to Travel. Finally, based on facts, references, and sources regarding Moors' right to travel is available to Moors and all people. This book will give you all the knowledge and tools you will need to fully understand the right to travel and the right to mobility. According to Dave Walrichter, literate slaves wrote passes to themselves and others, always subject to severe disciplinary measures if they were discovered. Chapter 1, Origins as to right to travel. Chapter 2, license mean permission. Chapter 3, TSA accepts our form of ID to help verify your identity. And we know that is a flat out lie.
It doesn't say our, or they accept other forms of ID.
Oh, I'm sorry. Other forms of ID. Other forms of ID. I thought it say ours. My bad.
Oh no, they're not going to accept this. They're not going to accept this.
They not say nothing like that. My bad.
Now check it, right. The last sentence where it talks about the slaves was writing their own passes. Read that sentence again. Read it slow, because I want to point something out.
Literate slaves wrote passes for themselves and others, always subject to severe disciplinary measures if they were discovered.
So in other words, what they're trying to tell people and we talked about this earlier, what they're trying to tell people is that they should go ahead and write their own travel documents and hope and pray that they don't get caught and become subject to severe punishment by the police and the judicial system. That's really what they're saying to you.
Crazy. That is crazy. I just don't understand how people don't see it. Even when I used to be into it, it was certain things that just wasn't adding up. And I'm like, nah, this can't be right and exact. And then it's like when you broke, you try to find an excuse for not having money. So when you're broke, money don't exist. It's all fiat paper anyway.
Hey,
right. So
like Ware else said in the group, in the Facebook group, everybody who don't like that fiat Federal Reserve note, I'm gonna give you my Cash App, my PayPal, all that stuff right in there, and just we'll take it right off your hands, no problem.
Hey look, I met up with Big Brother Taj Tariq Bey one time, right, in Delaware. It's real story, true story. And I thought about that fiat thing. Shoot, Taj went into a carryout, got him some eggs, got him a breakfast sandwich and some coffee, and he pulled out some fiat.
I would have asked him just to get the response and bust out laughing. Brother, I thought we wasn't supposed to use the dollar bills. Because now you remember that one group that faded off into oblivion. What were they called? The Moor Empire that lived in a broken down house in Philadelphia, the Sultan. Now they was like, they said they was minting their own silver and their own gold. I said, so if I got a minted silver coin from you with the image of your Sultan on it from Philadelphia, can I take that into the store and buy a loaf of bread with it? And these dudes dance all around the question because you can't that's not lawful currency of exchange. You have to exchange it, the silver or the gold, to get the dollars. So I was building with one of these so-called officials, and they directed me to him. So I asked him the same question. And he said, no, we take our minted silver and gold and go to the exchange to get the cash to use it for whatever it is we use it for. I'm like, what's the purpose of getting the silver and the gold in the first place if you just getting it just to put some dude face on it, just to go give it to some people to get cash back to go get your groceries and stuff? Like, none of this stuff makes any sense at all. And no other nation on earth will you find people printing up papers off of their home computers with case law that, number one, most of the time don't even exist. Number two, is taken completely out of context to say that the government in which they live doesn't have jurisdiction over them. This is preposterous.
But yet we're going to go there and have them fix our status for us.
Can you snap my paper?
Listen, this is what I'm talking about. You can go through the drive-through and you can get the status correction bronze pan for $7.50. Now that is a number one. Or you can get a number two. Give me a number two. A status correction. Forget all that. I'm not even going through all of that stuff. Matter of fact, just give me the whole demonstration. Give me a number 5. Status correction gold plan, $3,500.
That's the element that comes with chicken wings. That come with hot wings, yo. You know what I'm saying?
That come with the hot wing.
Come on.
Yo, these dudes is bugged out. And like we're about to drop. This is driving them back into their hole. But I guarantee you, 2 years from now, they're gonna come back out with a whole new repackaged book, and we're gonna be right on their heads again.
Because what it is they don't want to go and get a job, nor do they want to create a business that they're gonna have to really work. So what they do is they sit around and come up with these schemes in order to finagle people that are really seeking to redeem themselves.
That's right.
economic, political, and social slavery that they find themselves in. They find the weak-minded people and people that's hopeful, you know, and strong-minded people too. Because don't get it twisted. When I came into the Moorish Temple of America, the guy that in the beginning taught me about the prophet, he calls himself Noble Drew Ali right now. If you call his house and say, I want to speak to such and such, his wife would say, no, he don't live here. You want to speak to the prophet? But just like Abba, I quickly going on. I'm like, hold up, something ain't right with this. Like, he wasn't Noble Drew Ali there. Look, this is how crazy it got with me. I didn't know he went that far to the Noble Drew Ali degree. So he do the same work that I do, you know what I mean? Home improvement. At this time, you know what I mean? I'm rolling, rehabbing houses, whatever. And so I go into Habitat for Humanity Restore to go get some cabinets. And I'm there talking, and in my mind, I'm like, man, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to go to the temple. It's like a Friday. And then I said, I'm going to demonstrate this. You know how you be in your mind thinking how you going to do this and do that. And so I looked at these cabinets, right? And it had a sticker on there. It said, Noble Drew Ali. I said, the prophet talking to me.
Wow. Yo, this Moorish movement seems to attract some of the low lives in society, man. Unfortunately, I don't know why, but it just does, man. The lowest of the low is attracted to this.
But what it is though, I'm gonna tell you what it is. And I'm gonna close in a minute. But what it is this. From the time of 1929, when the prophet transitioned, everybody was grabbing a piece to try to demonstrate the part which they understood. And until this day, it still happens. It doesn't matter what grand body, what group, what offshoot or whatever. Everybody is demonstrating just a piece of it. That's what it is. I'm not ashamed to say it. It is what it is. Until one group is able to demonstrate every element of it and show the world what it looks like, the way the prophet showed what it was looking like during his time, it's always going to be like this. I mean every element, the body politic, moving together politically, the economic piece, where an economy is centered around Moorish, and the people of the organization, i.e. the nation. A social thing where during the time of the prophet, they had their own little parties, their own little gatherings. They had their own little districts and own little stores and all of the things, even Abba mentioned that. They had the political candidates that intermingled and worked with them, and they worked with them. The prophet Noble Drew Ali went to the government ball and things of this nature until I don't care who it is. Just like I'm about to smash Braswell Bay because they came at me, but it could be them per se. Once they demonstrate every element of what the prophet demonstrated, then people would know what it looked like. But as long as somebody demonstrating a piece like Braswell Bay, talking about, I'm the only Moorish Temple of America because I got a sheet of paper that you don't have. And you have to come to me in order to be a certified Moorish American because I am the prophet's temple.
Can I just say real quick, man? Like, I just got to be honest, man. Braswell Bay is a fraud. He just as fraudulent as Marra Kush. Point blank.
Hey, bro, and let me share something with everybody. Family, listen. So matter of fact, let's close out, and then I want to share something at the end real quick. Anybody got anything in closing? It's going on 11:15. We're going to do this anytime y'all ready. So we can do it anytime. But I want to share one thing with closing after y'all finish. Anything somebody want to say in closing?
Go ahead, bro. You go.
All right, I just want to say, number one, it's good to be on the show, building with Brother Tahaka. Number one, and good to have us back on and building and exposing the frauds. That's what we was doing before. And we got to keep putting the pressure on these people, but we also got to remember that we have work to do. as Moorish American Muslims. And this is a part of the work. The Prophet said, you know, if you have love for this movement and the Prophet and the law, I'm paraphrasing, you'll protect the movement with the utmost of your very lives.
Right.
And Marra Kush, I got 2 recordings of these dudes slandering Noble Drew Ali to the lowest. And whenever I get that other computer up and running, I'm going to download it. And I'm going to send it out so people could know the hatred that these brothers have in their hearts for a man who came to uplift our people. Could you imagine having that much hate? I'm going to take from the man the fact that he gave us Moorish identity, a way to structure our own pseudo-putative entities, but
Islamos.
I'm going to destroy him at the same time. Islam. What about you, Ali Bey?
It's a couple of things I just want to read real quick, right? Just to go back into this United States thing. Just wanted to read from the Commentaries on American Law. I don't know if you can see this, but it's called The Commentaries on American Law, Volume 1 by James Kent. James Kent is one of America's leading legal scholars from the 19th century and so forth, right? This is called Of the Government and Constitutional Jurisprudence of the United States, lecture number 10, The History of American Union. The very first sentence, I want this to be understood, because this supports the point that I was making. It says the government of the United States was erected by the free voice and joint will of the people of America for their common defense and general welfare. This is how the government was erected, not through an act of incorporation from the British sovereign, not from the 1871 act to provide a government for the District of Columbia, but it says here, the government of the United States was erected by the free voice and joint will of the people of America for their common defense and general welfare. Okay, that's how it happened. This United States was established by an act of self-determination and the will of the people. There's no incorporating document. So you guys can look and look and look all you want. You're never going to find it.
Never going to find it. A social compact was created. Period. That's right.
Social compact was created for the common defense and general welfare of the people. This is what's going on. They think that everything is about some kind of a contract in terms of a written document and so forth. That's not what happened, man. And you know that's not what happened. And you know, and also to go even further, you know, the doctrine of discovery had nothing to do with the establishment of the United States, because number one, the Declaration of Independence does not mention the doctrine of discovery. Neither does the Treaty of Paris. Neither one of those things mention the doctrine of discovery. So the independence and sovereignty of the United States and the United States government being erected was erected by the will of the people. It had nothing to do with the doctrine of discovery. And that came in later as they wanted to use that to take lands from the Indians. So there is no incorporation document. You can look all you want, do whatever you want. They're one of those companies that they talk about, the United States Corporation Company, whatever. I actually called that company. I said this before. I actually wrote that in my note. I said, I called that company. I spoke to the people there at that company. They laughed when I told them the conspiracy theories that's going around about their company being the United States government. They thought it was very, very funny. They're like, no, no, this is not the United States. Our company, this particular one, is established. And you can look at their articles of incorporation, and it actually says in the articles of incorporation the purpose of their company. They help other people in different states establish businesses that they want to erect in different states around the country. That's what they do. That's all they do. And they've been doing that since around the turn of the century. That's all they do. Okay, so that's not the government. You know, I know the Europeans got y'all spooked out and all of that kind of stuff, man. But, you know, like I said, Moors are a lot of times more spooky than Christians, man. So I just wanted to close with that and remind everybody that those Marra Kush dudes are some of the biggest losers that you're going to find in this whole Moorish movement. They lose more than everybody else because they go to court more than everybody else. So they consistently lose. And I challenge you and I challenge them to produce lawsuits that they actually won. Civil, criminal, whatever. Won. All right, that's all you got to do. That's how you find out who people really are. Tell them to show
right.
them, man. Pull up your stuff. Let me see. Don't reference Justice Marshall talking about the United States as some great corporation. Listen, you're taking that out of context. That's political philosophy.
That's right.
Let's deal with what's real. The fact of the matter is, you want the United States to be a corporation because you want to undermine the authority of the United States. But at the end of the day,
purpose of selling packages.
For the purpose of selling packages and selling drugs, smoking, and doing whatever else you want to do.
That's right.
Show us where is your stuff. Show us your stuff.
Where the receipts at?
Where the receipts? That's where we at. Show them where the receipts. I want to see the wins. Because you could type in Marra Kush into Google and all of their losses are gonna come up. That's right. Easy. That's easy. The hard stuff is the wins. Where's the wins?
Where the wins at? Where the wins at, B?
Where the wins at?
Where the wins at, B? I'm starting to feel a lot of heat coming from that couch over there.
Yo, I showed the Supreme Court case that got denied. Where else got a slew of, I'm sorry that he wasn't able to get on, but he's got all of their stuff broken down, and he's really, really got it down real good to go through all of their cases, how they lost and what the judges was telling them and everything. He's got all of that stuff down. So maybe on the next show we could go further into it. But at the end of the day, they can't produce no wins. That's one of the things they're not going to do. You can quote Justice Marshall and think that you got a superior doctrine to the Moorish Science Temple just because you're copying and pasting something Justice Marshall said. But at the end of the day, where is your wins? Produce them. Show it. Show it. That's how I want to go. I'm done with that.
So look, family, listen. I want to have a talk with the family real quick, family. Y'all don't go nowhere real quick before we close out, because y'all actually was basically doing what I'm about to do, and so I'm carrying on the legacy of y'all. So first of all, family, right now on Facebook, these people are really angry with me. These people, and I'm going to share it with you. And so the more angry that they get, the more posts that they do to try to prevent me from doing this pay-per-view, right? Mm-hmm. So let me share with y'all real quick. This is what they're doing right now. You know what I mean? Now, they started this stuff, but I'm not caring about who started. I want to get to the truth. This is the brother. He's going to post all day. He's illegitimate, charging pay-per-view to appear legitimate, to attack who's legitimate. And when it's all done, he's still illegitimate. You see, I ain't saying nothing. Don't even like each other, but are united to tear down the true foundation. After they fail, they will disunite again. Here we go. I don't know who he's talking about. But so when you go to these, yeah, like nobody even talking. But look, anyway, check this out. So this is what they doing, right? And they posting hard. I just showed y'all a little bit. They posting hard, right? So every time they post hard, I am going to post hard. All right, so listen, y'all see this? This is their home office, Grand Major Temple, right? Y'all see that, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody see that? Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the Grand Major Temple. Here's the Grand Major Temple, right? Y'all see it? Mm-hmm. So this is what the Grand Major Temple looked like 2013 and now. This is the Grand Major Temple. This is the Grand Major Temple. This is the Grand Major Temple. Lying to the people with a picture on a Facebook page. This is the Grand Major Temple inside. This is
B. They Grand Major Temple is a storefront.
Brother.
That look like
inside. This is the one on their Facebook page that they showing everybody. This is what the inside look like. This is what it looks like in the inside. And on Wednesday, I'm going to show you more pictures of the inside of the Grand Major Temple. But again, let's go and look. This is what they show on the outside, right? That's what they show on the outside, right? But let me show you. Right here, it is scheduled for
demolition
court.
Scheduled to be demoed.
828. There was a complaint there. It's abandoned building on 828. They are proselytizing and fronting like they have home office.
That ain't exactly. I think we showed on I think Grim showed on our thing where they really have a thing at, right? It's like some kind of rundown storefront or something like that.
The funniest thing.
The one that they show on Facebook And the address that they use, 501 Wabash Avenue, is a condemned building. It's a condemned building. I just showed the pictures, but I'm just getting started. So every time that they go crazy, I'm going to go a little bit harder. And I'm just getting started.
Go in, man. I think all of these suckers deserve it, man. Like, go in. Why not, man? Why not? Shit, why not?
And then them dudes is haters on top of that. Like that guy that you just showed, the KR Jabbar East L. Like, all of these people have done nothing for the movement, and their claim to fame, and I gotta speak on this, their claim to fame is getting other people not to join other grand bodies of Moors. Not any uplifting work, zero. I was in Chicago a few years ago, and it seemed like provisions was made so that I wouldn't meet Braswell Bey. I mean, it could have just been some logistical stuff. I don't know. I went to Kenu Bay Temple. Kenu Bay Temple was an old crack house with leaky pipes in the back. Like, I'm just going to be real, keep it honest. That's exactly what it was. So a lot of these Moors is out here fronting, but I'm going to digress and let Tahaka focus on who he focusing on and be easy. Straight up.
But look, this is on Google Maps. This place ain't been open since 2013. This place haven't been open since 2013. Y'all see this?
Yeah.
This thing is scheduled to be demolished.
Yeah.
And they say this is this houses the Divine National Movement. The Divine National Movement is up in here.
Yo, wait up. Didn't Drake say that on one of his songs? Yeah. On a Google Maps, your house looking like a trap though, or something like that.
Yeah. See, now y'all making me get petty. All I want to do is that information to show the people, but now y'all making me get petty. You know what I'm saying?
Man, look, man. Yo, one of them dudes said Ali. He said Ali's eunuchs. Ali's eunuchs. I'm like, oh, okay.
It's all good.
So look, and I want to say this in closing. The brother, somebody asked me, what does this have to do with waking up the people? Actually, family, I'm doing a presentation.
Why they always ask them kind of whack?
All the time.
I'm doing a presentation called The Myth of the Supreme Grand Sheik. What has happened since the passing of Aemer and since the conflict during the beginning of the transition of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, or during the time of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, there's always been a power struggle. You know what I'm saying? And so what I want to do is I want to show how that power struggle still exists today, but it's an illusion. It's an illusion because we have groups that claim it to have a monopoly on the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, on the Moorish Science Temple of America, and all of those things, which the religious freedom, that doesn't happen in the United States, according to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Not what the United States say, you know what I mean? The door to religious freedom slings open. But when somebody says that, like Braswell Bey and company, that they are the only official Moorish Science Temple of America, when in fact the official Moorish Science Temple of America, from a legal standpoint, if that's what you want to look at it, is the certificate is owned by Moorish Science Temple of America Incorporated. If you want to look at it from a legal standpoint, you know, but now from a religious standpoint, nobody has a monopoly on the word of God. No European can, no paperwork, nothing. The word of God is the word of God. It is what it is. But on the flip side of that, you have people like Braswell Bey that sends out these henchmen, kind of like what's that brother name? The light-skinned brother with the radio show.
Brewington
Bey.
Roger.
And then Roger that. And then the heavyset guy.
Damu.
They send out these henchmen.
You talk about he want to fight.
All of these people to try to represent and stir up the drama to claim that they have the sole rights to the Moorish non-simple of America. When in fact, if anybody is illegitimate, they are more illegitimate than, as my brother say, Marra Kush. They are more illegitimate, and that's what I'm going to prove. That's what I'm going to prove.
Hey, bro, the video you showed earlier was enough. You don't even gotta play nothing else, man. That was enough.
Hey, bro,
I didn't even see that. I'm gonna go back and check it.
Hey, bro, when I show the rest of these, bro, I got one on my phone where this brother literally lies in my face. And I'll say this. I'll tell you what he lied and said. He said to me that he had the minutes for every year to 2018. When it's a fact that Oris L deflected 2 years, 34 and 35, it was dormant. And to Sister D. Meliel had a convention in 36. I can show it and prove it. A fact. But he looked at me in the face and I said, you sure you want to say that? I said, let me record this. He said, go ahead. I said, because are you sure? And they said, you calling the Supreme Grand Sheikh a liar? I said, I'm calling a spade a spade. I said, I will take a flight right now. He was in Baltimore. I would take a flight right now to Chicago. And I will present my facts and you present your minutes. We can do it during convention. No, let's do it tomorrow.
Oh, wait, that's their favorite line in that body. Come during convention, because then they feel that they have so many people that they could overwhelm you with a confluence of influential thought. Like, that's not gonna work with nobody that's standing on no truth.
But the thing is this, I know what they have. I know that they don't have as much as they said that they have. I'm gonna tell you what they have, bro. They have some tattered up charters with Emilio's signature on it. That's it. They got 2. They have some letters, some correspondence with the Cook Bays and a couple of more. They have some letters. They have that book. Now, that book is only a list of names of people who was made adapts. That was taken from Belial, was given to him by his grandmother, Sister Delia Meliel. They have that.
And there's no saving power in none of that stuff.
It's none whatsoever. None whatsoever. That's a family heirloom. That's all that is. And they have a few other articles, right? But to dramatize it, they make these videos and put on these gloves and say, oh, we haven't opened this. We have so much stuff we haven't opened. Well, let me tell you something. I've been to 3 of these meetings. Two of the things that he presented was the same thing every 3 times. If you have so much, why are you still presenting the same stuff?
Charismatic con man. That's exactly what I look at it, man.
I'm going to challenge. I know he don't have the minutes of every year. And if he does, he needs to produce it. But he doesn't have it. Why? Because even Sister Delia D. Meliel, that I know for a fact, bro, everybody needs to see this presentation. Everybody needs to see this presentation. When I give the history of Brother Emilio's wife that they have slandered, when I give the history of that, and I show the true connection of how this all come about, how Braswell Bay come about from 975 to Belial, how this all come together, the people are going to be amazed. On February 3rd, I'm telling you, your $16 will be well spent. And the $16 is going towards building of the Moorish village. I've done a lot of research for this. I've learned research from people like Elwazel, Ali Bey, the Lord Abba, Sharif Bey. I've been watching them for years, and I read their work. Ali Bey been on this channel for months at a time. I've been watching it, how he pieced it together. One of the best degrees that I learned from Lord Abba was the history of the fans. I used to tear up my elders with that. I ain't gonna say which one. I used to tear them up with it. But the point of the matter is, I took little pieces from each of these brothers, Edwardsdale. And I looked at it and I say, well, man, this is how I'm going to do my research. And so as I pieced it together, I seamlessly sew it together. That's a contradiction of terms, ain't it? But anyway, you get my point. I sew this thing together. And when it tells the story, you will not be disappointed. You'll be more amazed than anything. If anybody's seen the Anael presentation, you will know that I can put some stuff together. And this is all documents. It's not me. Again, I'm not going to say that Belial said this about Braswell Bey or Braswell Bey said this about Belial. I'm going to show documents from 29, breaking the story down all the way up till today. And it's going to tell a story. And that story is not going to fit the scenario which you've been used to. And so,
you know what you should do? You should close out with that video that you played with Braswell talking about Belial, man. You should close out with that video.
Well, that's we do that. Matter of fact, let me first. I'm going to throw the link. Let me throw the link in case anybody want to support. Again, we building this Moorish village demonstration. And it's coming along good, man. I can't wait to show the pictures of how far we come. It's looking real good. I'm there working every day. Almost done, family. I'm almost done. The first building, or rather the first floor of the first building. We got a 3-story building, and it's almost done. But let me see if I can get you. I want to get to the page, and I'm gonna throw this link up in here for anybody who wish to see the event. Here we go. For anybody,
I'm gonna check it out.
For anybody wish to see the event, I'm throwing the link in the chat. It's February the 3rd. I'm telling you, it's going to be money well spent. It's definitely going to be money well spent. And if anybody if you're a fan of research and if you're a fan of information and you want to see what the information is really about, I'm telling you, this is the one for you. Let me see if this works. Let me see if this works. Yep, it works. There you go. So there's the link in the chat. I'm also going to put the link in the video, in the bottom of the video, and then I'm gonna play the video that my brother Ali Bey mentioned. And matter of fact, and I would say he haven't seen it, so I'm going to play it. And now I can get to see it. Give me a second. All right, let me go back and let me pull it up. So this video here, right? This video here, and like I said, I don't ask for this stuff to happen for real. This stuff happen. I didn't set this up. I didn't set it up right. And I'm gonna give y'all more tidbits as we get closer to the day. But I want to show y'all. When one claims to be a Supreme Grand Sheikh legitimately, watch what this show you though. 1 second. Here we go. Where is it? 1 second. Hold up. I just had it up. Thank you. Where you at? Oh, there it is. All right. Let me let it drop in here real quick. Give me a minute. It's going to take a second to drop in and load. And I want to show y'all that if one says he is a Supreme Grand Sheikh and that they have this, that, and the third, right? I want y'all to be the one. And this is not the only video I have. I got quite a few videos, but I want y'all to be the one to answer the question. Does this legitimizes a Supreme Grand Sheikh? There you go. 1 second. And this is not slander. This is the brother's own words. There you go.
Some of our great teachers was Sister Christina Price Bey, who many people call Queen Mother. Brother Sloan Hill, who was who was the organizer of the Moorish Industrial Club, and a brilliant man named David Bellier. Very brilliant. Still brilliant.
And still brilliant. Check this out.
And he used to say to me, he said, I don't want to just tell you, I want you to read for yourself.
Check him out. Listen.
He's very generous.
He was very generous.
Sharing with me the knowledge.
Share with him the knowledge.
Things that I couldn't understand. One day he went and got a box of all.
One day he went and got a box.
All of those archives where they were stored. And me, myself, and a few other sheiks, we got into that box, and many of us were able to connect the dots. And we said to ourselves, so this is what happened. Oh, so this.
They did not know nothing about Moorish science in the structural or the specification of how it worked before they met Belial. Now check it out.
This is what it was. And we walked out. We walked out the temple that day. It's like we had come out of the steam room. We had began to put all the pieces together.
So is that where the name Hot Box came from?
Not the Hot Box. We later began to go through a few more boxes.
A few more boxes. This is at David Belial house.
I mean, there's a tremendous amount of boxes because if you recall, during the time of the prophet, writing was the major mode of communication.
Anyway, the point of the matter of this video is that
few other sheiks
that he did not know a thing. And I don't want to give it all away because I got some few more videos, and the end of that really clears it up. He did not know a thing before he came to Belial. And
that's
so
interesting.
And so when they get this information, right, the whole motivation was to get it from Belial's hands. That was the whole motivation. And as I tell this story, I will show how this thing literally unfolded to what you see today. And so a brother say, how is this uplifting fallen humanity? Well, the way that it uplifts fallen humanity, I am going to show that a lot of this stuff that people are subscribing to is bogus. It's bogus and it doesn't make sense. And it's time for us to get back on the path of the truth of what the prophet taught and not falling for the okie doke. That's what the time is.
Because them guys, let me say, them guys, that particular, like the temple goddess schism that been going on for a long time. But over the years, you notice a lot of brothers, you know, they build with each other. But that particular group of Moors right there, they are the most negative group of Moors that claim to be members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The most divisive, the most venomous group of brothers that I've come across. I just got to be honest with you.
Hey, brother, and that's because, listen, that's because of this. And I learned this when I went to convention, and they didn't let us in that convention. I learned this. The brother Braswell Bey is a very charming guy. Make no mistake about it. But underneath the charm, there's an ulterior motive, and there's a defense thing that's set up to try for him to preserve his position. And so what he does is he trained these guys to be attack dogs.
Mm-hmm.
He trained them to be attack dogs, and he'd be the diplomat with the smile. He'd be the that's it. He'd be the charming guy, but behind the scenes, he'd train these guys to be attack dogs. But when the information is presented, you'll see you're being attacked by a Yorkie. All you gotta do is kick him. These little Yorkies. So you kick these little Yorkies. You don't want to hurt the Yorkie because they're cute. But sometimes if you don't kick the Yorkie hard enough, you're gonna bite your ankle. So
that's a fact.
Anything in closing, I'm about to get out of here.
Yeah, all right, look. The Secretary of State already exposed how them dudes are a bunch of dirtbags, man. That was a real dirtbag move that they tried with Jones Bay and them trying to change the location of the office. And
that's right.
That was crazy. That was some really low, dirty stuff, man.
And before we end, what brings us to this point of calling them dirtbags was them brothers trying to say that because the brother Mansa Ball Bay, who got murdered by St. Louis PD, wasn't a member of their temple, was the reason why he got murdered by St. Louis PD. And for that, ride on them dudes, Tahaka. Ride on them.
Hey, bro, my thing is this. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do my best to try to hold back my opinion of them as a group and just present total documentation of the nonsense, the misleading fraud, and the hopefulness of the people who follow this. Hopefully they get to see this information. Hopefully they get to see this information. But once I get that out, then I'm going to go in my own Tahaka Bay bag and we gonna have a fight. Then we're gonna talk about all your indiscretions.
Definitely.
That's what I'm gonna do with that. But with that, family, appreciate y'all coming on. We're gonna do this again real soon. I know my brother Ware, he probably had to take off, and I know tomorrow I'm going to. And listen, family, I'm going to the Martin Luther King Day parade tomorrow.
Me too.
I'm going Dr. King in the cold.
Excellent.
Tomorrow. That's what I'm going to do.
Dr. King was a great man, brother.
Am I less than or more?
No, look, check this. We always say Dr. King moved the needle. Okay?
That's right. 2
major pieces of legislation that was passed on the federal level was due in part to his great works.
That's right.
Of people, they're great and tireless and fearless works. So you got to give credit where credit is due, man. You know, at the end of the day, he was a great mind. That's right. He cared about our people very deeply.
And one thing we said about in Sunday school today is that Dr. King was making a shift. He was making a shift in order to carry our people in a different direction during the time that he was murdered. When he said, it feels like I'm putting my people in a burning house, you know, he was about to shift and turn the corner, I believe, you know. And so I believe that where he started, he met the people where they were at. He got big things done and accomplished, and he was ready to make that shift. And, you know, what happened. But that's our brother, our ancestor, and we should respect that. It is what it is. But with that, I got to go. Islam, peace and love. We're going to do this real soon. Appreciate y'all. Let's get out of here. This is Moorish World TV. We always go big around here. Peace and love, family.